give me the money. He hit me so hard, I go, oh! That's when I got my lip bitten off. But now I have 2 women pregnant, 4.5 months apart.
This is horrible.
Don't say it's him. Whatever was broken before is snapped.
To me, I look back on my life and I see all the failures and mistakes and just the shitty things I've done in life.
And I didn't realize how bad my conscience was. I was like 6 years old and I found a silver dollar. And I knew that if I kept that silver dollar, I could get 4 video games. I hid my shoes in my mom's car because she would have to go to work and I wouldn't have to go to school the next day. And I could go down to this Italian restaurant in Manassas. And the guys loved me. They'd give me a soda. Yeah, I was a cute little kid. They'd give me a soda and I was going to play video games and it was going to be cool. So I hid my shoes and my mom was forced to go to work. My brothers went to school, so I was by myself. And I went down there to play the video games. And as I was playing the video games, an older guy sat down. I'm 6 years old. It took me like maybe 3 minutes. It was asteroids. I was terrible at it. It was fun. And it was over. And he was like, what's wrong? I was like, well, I don't have any more quarters. He's like, hey, the bums across the street fall asleep with their wallets. You want to go there and get a couple more dollars? And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, yeah, it made perfect sense that there'd be bums asleep with money at 6. And when we walked across the street, there was no bums. And he went from a really nice, caring guy to a really predatory, mean, and he was hard on me. And that's where the fear began for the first time, because even though the event that happened was one thing, and that was terrifying, and when I finally thought it was all over, and I thought that I just wanted to get home. That's all I could think about. It's like, just let me, and I wasn't thinking I'm going to go tell. I was just thinking, I want to live. I want to get the fuck out of here. And he made me stop, and they're like, it's hard to describe. They were white, and it looks like they're like an oil refinery, but in the bottom of these big oil refinery things in Manassas, where the park where we went was just full of sludge. And he was holding me like over it. He's like, if you tell anybody, I'll fucking kill you. I'll leave you in here. Right. And that's when I was just like, it's never going to end. Like I didn't think the moment would end, and I just kept crying. And that pissed him off, and he'd hit me for crying. And I remember because we had to go through like a gate that had just a little opening, and when I could finally get through that gate, and he wasn't pulling me back anymore, and he let me go, I was just everything changed in my mind at that point. And I think the biggest regret I have is because I didn't tell. Like I lied and said, like when it came out a little bit, I wouldn't say who it was. And I only say anything because it happened again, but with, and I'm not going to say who, but probably the one person I love most on this earth, the most beloved person in our family. And, I didn't have the courage to say anything. I'm sorry. Sorry. I get worked up. That's all right. I didn't have the courage to say anything. So that when the person I love most also got hurt by him, I just never recovered mentally from that. And I think I, on some level, broke then. Because I always felt dirty after that. I always felt gross. I always was, and my temper changed. I went from a very loving, charismatic kid. There's pictures of me like doing the John Travolta, we called it. Right. Naked, running around. I was just a happy kid, even though we were poor, to a dark person. And when I was 12 years old, we got to spend 2 whole weeks with Dad. And when we came back, I had a big fight with my mom because I left some clothes or something there. And I was like, I'll go live with Dad. And I went to live with Dad, and living with Dad was completely different than visiting with Dad. Right. Visiting with Dad meant we got candy bars for dinner, and we got to go out, and we got to go, and Dad would put me in like his car, and or truck actually, and he let me ride. Right. He'd get me up at like 4 a.m. and we'd go to that bar that it's not really a bar. It's like a mobile home inside of a mountain. And you walk in, it's just men and cigarettes, and I could have all the little sodas I wanted, and Dad would sit there and drink. We called that going hunting. Right. Taking Jake hunting with me. But in reality, living with him was vastly different. Vastly different. It was scary. My stepmom thought I was a beating pole for her, and it didn't really matter. I didn't care if she hit me because it didn't remember when they had the paddles, and I had a big ego because when she broke the paddle on me, I thought I was something. You guys know what I'm talking about.
No, I know exactly. My brother and I used to work out all the time. And I remember my mom one time got mad at my brother, and she punched him in the shoulder, she hit him in the arm. And she goes, oh, and she hurt her hand. He goes, you see that? He goes, Mom just broke her fingers on my bicep. Like we were laughing about it. So you moved. You were with your father.
Oh yeah, I was with Dad, and it wasn't working out. So when my brother came to visit a couple weeks later, I was like, tell Mom I'm ready. Because when I left, she's like, whenever you're ready to come home, just tell Travie. I couldn't tell Dad. That would be bad. So I would have to tell Travis when I was ready to come home. And after a couple of weeks with Dad, it was just, it's very depressing there. Everything was different. Going to school there was different. Dad was never home. When he was home, he was mean or drinking. I just didn't want to live there anymore. And I'm a mama's boy. I wanted to be back home. That's all I've ever known. So I told my little brother, told my mom, and I remember because my dad would take us back to Fairfax, either drop Travis off or whatever, and then we drive back. When we got back to the trailer, the phone rang, and I swear to God, he looked at me, he said, okay, next Saturday, and hung up. He said, you got your wish. And he didn't speak to me at all that week. When he dropped me off that next Saturday, he was just like, never asked me for anything again, and that was it. We never spoke again.
How old were you?
12. I had a mental breakdown.
Jesus.
Because that happened in the beginning of the year, so I was I was 11, getting ready to turn 12, because when I turned 12, and he didn't want to talk to me or birthday card or anything, my mom called. He's like, your son's having a mental breakdown. I take him to a psychiatrist. You need to talk to him. No. And I hung up on her. So I never talked to him again. That was it. That was the last time we ever spoke. And it really wasn't even a speaking. Flash forward to 15. I'm the pool boy. I'm the grill at Army Navy Country Club. I meet Molly Barnes. She just did her freshman year at Ole Miss. She's the head lifeguard. She's driving a 1989 yellow LS convertible. And I convinced her that, hey, let's hang out one night. And I'm 15. I'm taller than her, but I'm 15. I'm a kid. And she was like, sure. And she was drinking Sunkist and grain, because that's what she drank at school. And I'm telling you, she's a half a bottle in on that Sunkist and grain, and she drops the Sunkist in her yellow convertible, and she rips off her shirt to dry it. I'm like, holy shit, those are boobs.
Right.
I'm pumped. I'm like, oh God, I'm 15. I go right in.
Yeah.
And we're kissing and we're making out. I'm 15. I am not experienced. I mean, not like this. And so she's like, I gotta pee, and she goes and pees. And when she turns around, I'm right there. I'm like, hey. She's like, oh, we're having sex. I was like, yes, hell yeah, we are. We're having sex. And it lasted and she had to help me. Like, I'm just poking all around. She's like, hold on a second. There you go. And I was like, oh shit. Oh, it's the greatest feeling in the world. And it's funny because my older brother was visiting. So as soon as it's over, I'm not like trying to cuddle. I'm like, thanks. And I shoot into the house to tell my brother.
I gotta tell some people.
I gotta tell my older brother who's 18 and just this huge guy. And I wanted to tell him. He didn't believe me. I was like, Brian, I just had sex. He's like, no, you didn't. Shut up. And the funny, so she rolls out. I literally just look at like, thank you, and go to tell my brother. And I guess she drives home. So the next morning, I'm pumped. I'm in love. I just had sex with an 18-year-old girl. I just lost my virginity.
Right.
It's on. So I show up to Army Navy Country Club the next day, and I'm sitting there in the chair, and she's swimming laps. And she gets up, and she's like, what do you want? I was like, what do you want? I was like, last night. She's like, nothing happened last night. What do you mean nothing happened last night? We made love. She's like, no, we did. We ended up getting together, but it took like 2 weeks for her to get over my age. And that was my first love, Molly Barnes. Man, we were having sex 15 times a day. She was on the pill. Man, my little wiener hurt all the time. And then I'm madly in love with her. I'm keeping my job. I'm not getting in trouble. I'm not fighting. I'm not doing anything. I'm not breaking the law. I'm just head over heels because I'm a 15-year-old with a college girlfriend that's relatively hot, and we're having sex.
We talk a lot about crime on this show, but let's face it, some of the biggest crimes are committed by the government. You've heard the story before. Big Pharma swoops in to take control. Now, the FDA is trying to reclassify NMN, a natural compound in foods like broccoli and avocados, as a pharmaceutical drug. Why? Because NMN is so effective, they want to turn it into a pricey drug, keeping its health benefits out of the reach of most people. It's likely they're setting the stage for Big Pharma to profit, making it hard for us to access something that could dramatically support our life. The truth is, I lost over a decade in federal prison. So I want to stay as healthy as long as possible. I'm 55 years old and I'm not ready to slow down. I stay active, eat right, and do all the things that we're supposed to do. But that only gets you so far. That's when I started looking for an NMN supplement, something backed by real science. After some research, I found Cell Being by Verso. It's loaded with NMN, resveratrol, and TMG. These ingredients work together and are proven to boost your NAD levels, which basically is the fuel that powers the trillions of cells in your body. I've been taking Cell Being for a while now, and I've noticed a huge change. I feel sharper, more energized, and just younger. While NMN was recognized as a safe supplement, the FDA made a decision that will make it harder for you and me to get this powerful compound unless we're willing to pay pharmaceutical prices. It makes you wonder who's really benefiting from this change. Don't wait until it's too late to support your body with something that could change the way you age. Click the link in the description box or head over to Verso, ver.so, and use the promo code Cox for 15% off your first order. Get it while you still can and take control of your health before the FDA and Big Pharma take it out of your hands.
I feel like I'm on top of the world, and I get the call. My friend Jason Gerald was going to spend the night with us, and I don't know, because you didn't have cell phones back then. Somehow somebody got to us. We were at 7-Eleven hanging out, and they're like, "Your mom wants you home right now." I'm like, "Holy shit!" So we get back to the house, and Aunt Mary's there, Uncle Ray's there. And I know somebody died. I'm like, "Is it grandma?" And they're like, "Boys, you need to sit down." And I go, "Who is it, grandma?" And they're like, "No." And I said, "Don't say it's him." And, oh man, I'll get worked up thinking about it. I was like, "Don't say it's him. Don't say it." And they're like, "Your dad's." And I was like, "Ah." And I just lost my shit. Because my brother started crying. I was like, "He didn't like you. What the f- do you care?" You know? And I'm losing it. And I just, something inside of me just kind of, whatever was broken before snapped. And that was the biggest shift, because after my dad died,
I'm sorry. How did he die?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So my dad, who has always been in cars, it turned out he wasn't even driving. They were in this 1986 Mustang, and the guy was going an eighth of a mile. So I searched this out. Most fatalities are within a quarter mile of the house. It's exactly an eighth of a mile to the house he's living in. And they're going really fast when he's still in Winchester, and they were driving really fast, and a dog came out in the road, and the guy, this idiot, swerved to miss the dog. And when he swerved, it hit an embankment. And when it hit the embankment, it shot my dad out of the car. That didn't kill him, but the car flipped and rolled over him and broke his neck. From what I understand, he held on for another 2 days. They didn't tell us. They waited till he was to even tell this, because we hadn't spoken since I was 12. I mean,
Right.
this is 3 years later. I didn't know how to deal with that.
Right.
Like, I didn't, I was mad. I mean, I remember having conversations with my little brother, because we lived in the basement, and there was a little half wall, and I'm like, "Do you think of him?" He's like, "Yeah, I think of him." And we had this little MX Yamaha 80, and I was like, should we ride out to him, like, in our heads at like 12 and 13 and 14? There was a way that we could make it from Fairfax on this little 80 out to Winchester and find him. But I guess we didn't have the courage, or we just didn't do it. And he was, and then at that point, because Molly Barnes and Shane Bates were my friends, my girlfriend and Shane Bates was my friend, I started drinking, and I started being real angry, and I started being real aggressive. And they're like, "We don't like you when you drink. You're different. You're a completely different person. You're so angry now." And Molly wanted to love me through it. My mom wanted to love me through it, but there just wasn't any coming back for me at that point. I don't know why, but at that moment, I kind of cashed out. I never exceeded any further in school. I kept a broken hand. All I did was fight. I got my first malicious wounding right after that.
Did you stay in school though, or
No, I didn't make it past the ninth grade. I was kicked out. No, I was just thrown out, and I just decided not to go back. Like, there's no more hope. All my friends were like juniors now, and I'm supposed to be a freshman.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you get a full-time job?
No.
No.
Nope.
What are you doing? Just hanging out at the house?
Lived at home. I would get mad at my mom, go to Ole Miss to visit, because Molly did one more year at Ole Miss, and then she went to ODU to be closer. I would, and
She was all in, huh?
Oh yeah, she loved me big time. Oh my God. She goes back to school, and she calls me. She's like, "I got to talk to you about something." I'm like, "Oh shit, what happened?" And she's like, "Wow, I just spent the night in a hotel with a guy." Oh.
Crushing.
It. Oh, dude, I was so hard on her after that. Yeah, I was bad. I was not a good guy after that. But she'd do anything I asked.
She kind of thing you keep to yourself.
Yeah.
By the way,
she could have kept that for me, and we'd probably be married today.
Right. Listen, don't. Honesty's overrated sometimes. I mean,
I didn't need that at that point in time. So, I'm sorry. You asked me something, and I got lost.
Well, I was wondering that if you. Did you at one point did you get a job, or is this just things just progressively
it was
get
weird.
worse?
My mom's super guilt. It had come out about some stuff when I was young because it took a long time for that to come out.
Right.
The doctors, my mom thought the answer was psychiatrist and medication, and I would buck on it, and they'd send me to a mental hospital because I'd flip out, and I wouldn't even flip out that bad. I just had really dark thoughts all the time, not about hurting other people. I didn't. Hurting other people was a result of not being able to express myself. I didn't know how to argue.
Right.
If it was anything that I felt was even going to be combative, I was swinging first. And I caught this malicious wounding. I had a little brother named Travis, and Baby Boz, his mom had died. And we call him Baby Boz because Brian Bosworth haircut, and he was super little, like he's a little guy. And we kind of adopted him. His mom died. He was always with us. My brother was either there or he was with us. And he was almost like a mascot that everybody just loved. And these long-haired guys from Oakton High School were picking on him. And I saw it. And I didn't think. I just went over and started pushing him. And when the guy wanted to fight back, I wrapped both my hands around his hair. And I just kept kneeing him in his face until I pulled out both locks of hair. And he pressed charges. The cops came. I bounced out, and they gave me a malicious wounding. We put it down to a simple assault, and they put me on probation. So I was always violating probation with dirty urine or drinking or absconding or running down to Norfolk where ODU is. So I just stayed in trouble at that point. My mom kind of got scared because they were like, we're going to give you a suspended sentence to Beaumont, which is a suspended sentence to Beaumont is juvenile prison. They're like, we're taking you off probation. We're going to give you a suspended sentence to Beaumont because you're not complying with probation. And if you catch another charge, we're going to send you to Beaumont. That's what a suspended sentence to Beaumont was. So my mom sent me to Florida. So I was in Ocala Forest, the cruise land Lake Delancey, where my grandfather and them.
Okay.
See, the grandfather that raised us, not my blood grandfather, but Grandpa Cruz. He's half Creek Indian. His father was full Creek Indian. And so he was a lawyer. So he sued the state of Florida, and they gave him some land on cruise land, Lake Delancey, in the middle of the Ocala Forest. And it's in Palatka. And that's where my grandma and my grandpa were living. So my mom sent me there. And I mean, literally, it is in the woods, bro. It is 3 miles on unpaved roads on sand that you have to keep your wheels perfect in the sand grooves or you get stuck.
Right.
So they thought, I'll hide him there till he turns 18.
Right.
I didn't function there well either. My grandmother was older. She had enough of me. My mom came to visit for the 4th of July. And she's like, okay, I'm taking you back with me now. And I was pumped. My little brother brought me some acid. We tripped on the beach because we stayed at Crescent Beach. And when I went home, it wasn't a month later, I got into a fight with the YTs. And that was the arrest. YTs. They called them. They were a bunch of jocks from Lake Braddock and Robinson that called themselves the Young Terrorists. And what they would do, they would go into a party, and they black and white kids, just in upper class, as a matter of fact, or middle class, let's say. And they throw up the sign, and then whoever was to their left, woman, girl, boy, didn't matter. They turn and hit them and beat up the whole party. That was their thing. They're just clowns. And it was funny because we were warring with them pretty hard. If they caught me alone, they would get me. George Racing them jumped me. They jumped Nelson. We would jump them if we saw them. We were having a party at a guy named Quigley. Who was at Quiggy's house. And we were just waiting for him. We knew they couldn't resist this party. It was big, but my friends were older. I was 17 at this point, and I was only 5'10", but all my friends were older, bruisers, fighters. We were much rougher than they were, and there was like all these bats lined up at the door. But as the party progressed, I was with Matt Saunders, and we were kicking it with 2 girls, and the fight had started, and I didn't even know. We were in there kicking, and I'm thinking, man, I'm getting laid tonight. And I'd smoked some weed, and I don't want to fight at all when I'm on. I smoked some weed, and we're drinking, and Matt Saunders and I were talking. I can't remember her name now. And some guy ran in and said, Jason, baby Brewer's outside. Baby Brewer's outside, which meant my little brother was outside. And I even remember saying, and I ran outside to go see what was up. It kind of like adrenaline dump. And I saw George Reyes about to hit my little brother in the back of the head with the bricks. They were throwing bricks. It was a big thing. It was in the Wall Street Journal, not the Wall Street Journal. It was in the Washington Post. So if anybody's looking at this video, just look up Jason Brewer, 17-year-old youth, Washington Post in 1991. It will pull up. But I ran up behind him and I had brass knuckles and I hit this kid in the back of the head and it hurt my hand. I don't know if anybody's ever hit anybody with brass knuckles. I don't recommend it. It hurts. But I hit him in the back of the head and he fell down. And I don't know, for whatever reason, I just went into a rage. My little brother was the one there. He had a cane. I took the cane from my little brother and I'm just beating this kid in the head, named George Reyes, to his eye pops. And I'm screaming, and I'm such a dolt. I'm screaming, "This is Jason Brewer. I want you to know who's doing this to you." Bang, bang. And I kept hitting him. And I thought in my head, because these guys are always starting all this trouble, the police know who they are. They're not going to care that we're kicking their ass. But then I ran off. We were hiding in the woods. It was Matt Dinger and I. We were hiding in the woods. And I was like, hey, this is YT. What are they going to do to us for them? And I didn't think about how bad I'd hurt this kid. So we came down. They arrested me. They certified me as an adult. My 18th birthday, they moved me over to Fairfax County Jail from the ADC, because I went to JDC, Juvenile Detention Center in Fairfax, until my 18th birthday, because they certified me as an adult and sent me over to the big jail. Now, that was freaking scary.
How bad did you hurt the guy? What happened to him?
I knocked his eye out of his head, so I gave him a malicious wounding. He lost, but it went back in. I mean, he just lost his vision.
I understand, but still, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, it was a malicious wounding. It was pretty bad. And a lot of people got hurt that night. A lot of people got real hurt. After him, we broke a window and pulled a guy out of a car that was hiding in the car and stomped him. It was bad. It was not a cool scene, but it was kind of like revenge for all the times that they had done it, you know. And I guess at 17, it seemed okay. Now it doesn't seem okay, but back then,
right,
it seemed like the thing to do. And it wasn't so when all that happens and I'm getting arrested, I see my little brother drive off, who ends up being his wife later on, Chrissy, but I didn't think I would be in that much trouble.
Right.
I was more worried about the suspended sentence to Beaumont, but that was it. They certified me as an adult. I told my mom I didn't do it, so I was kind of forced into going to trial. I had a public pretender, terrible lawyer. And Matt Dinger and Nelson Estrada also were arrested for it. So the three of us were charged with malicious woundings. They were in college. They got PRC in a 12-month sentence. So they like 6 months. One's what's it called? They both had work release, but one of them ended up going home, like on the monitor. I took it to trial. I did a 3-day trial and I lost. But Judge Marcus D. Williams, he gave me 5 years, 2.5 suspended. And back in the early 90s, there was 30 for 30. So getting 2.5 years meant I did 12 months. I did 12 months in 1 day and I'm mandatoried out. But I also received the outpatient drug and alcohol treatment, which was, I was like, drug and alcohol treatment. I drink a little, I smoke a little weed, do a little shrooms, maybe drop acid here and there. Like, I don't need that. But I went in there and they were all older guys.
That sounds like you're using drugs.
Oh, this again?
Here. I was like, how upset is he going to be if I reach over and take this out of his?
I get fidgety when I think about this stuff, because I don't think about this stuff very often.
Yeah. Oh, listen, I know I've interviewed guys that we interviewed, well, a few guys, but one guy like literally hadn't ever really sat down and told his story. And I mean, 10 minutes into his story, because he'd never talked about it.
Right.
In tears, crying. Yeah. Just, and he was like, I don't know what, you could tell too, he was like, I don't know what's happening right now.
Right.
Yeah, of course. Because you think about it, you know what happened, and you can think about that story, but it's like it's in a box, in a shelf that's there. It's there, but you never really think about it or talk about it. But the moment you actually have to sit down and explain it to somebody, then those emotions come back, and you're not, most guys are just not capable of expressing those emotions without getting emotional. And of course, guys don't get emotional. That shows weakness, Of course, I cry probably maybe 3-4 times a week. So for no reason, I'll watch a good TikTok. A good TikTok will make me tear up.
Oh my! I can't watch it. There's this. Oh my God! The Cabin. I think it's called The Cabin. Oh my God. Yeah, crying all the way through it. Like, don't look at me.
That's how it was my wife.
No, The Shack. The name of the movie is The Shack.
The Shack.
Oh, I'm like, don't watch it. It's so good, but you are going to cry 3 or 4 times. It is just brutal.
Yeah, my wife will look over. She'll go, "Are you crying?" No,
my eyes are dry. Oh, I like crying now, but it's funny because I've thought about some of this stuff and spoken about some of it. But there's other things that hit you. I'm like, man, I did it. Damn. And you're right. It's up in that shelf. It's been gone for a long time. And then I try to hash. And it's funny because I think it's important to talk about it because some people don't know that it's okay to cry.
Yeah,
it's okay to remember the past. And you're not. And I'm not my past today.
Right. I think if you never talk about it, then you never. It never helps to change you or to deal with that. And then you just. That may be the reason that you have such emotional issues to begin with, because you've never talked about it or thought about it or, worked your way through it, which is all sounds like psychology bullshit to me.
Some Freudian.
It does.
Yeah, but
it does. But it's true. It's, what I'm saying? It's like advice that I give people. I always say, like, if some young kid calls me or talks to me or says, and I'm like, he's like, what do you think I should do? And I'm like, I think you should do this. And I'm sitting there thinking, this is the same advice that my father would give you. Why hasn't anybody told you? Like, I'm not telling you anything remarkable,
right?
But the truth is, it sounds silly and it sounds, it sounds like dad advice, but that dad advice from a regular dad,
right?
Is, I'm saying,
sound advice.
It's sound
yeah.
advice. It's just that people don't say it and they don't do it and they don't think about it. And, it has to be said.
And sometimes it's the messenger that says it. A kid may be open to what you have to say.
Unfortunately, isn't that weird?
Yeah. But it's also a great tool to have because you're reaching people that might not hear it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool, but weird at the same time.
I guess some of those guys' fathers did say it. Probably did say the same things that I'm telling them, like, do this, do that, wake up early, work out, show up on time, work hard, do, what I'm saying? Save your money. Don't care about what these people think. You tell all those things, same stuff that your mom said to you that you thought,
shut up.
Yeah.
It's funny because I find that the nuclear family, by my own experience, looking at how my kids did, because they were 9 and 5 months old when I went to prison. We'll get to that later. And my brothers who raised their children, my brothers' strong fathers, like my 2 cousins, so my niece and nephew are Virginia Tech, veterinarian school, and sports medicine. My other 2, a project manager with 2 kids. They all live on the same compound with my brother, their dad, and how different their children are and how they were raised by having strong fathers, as opposed to my 2 kids with 2 different mothers, of course, like that. How awful. Yes, you guys are awful. Children I have. Get them beefing with them right now.
All right.
But go ahead, let's go back.
But no, when you were saying, so you did what? Was it a year or 12 months?
12 months and 1 day. So 1 year, 1 day.
But now you've got this suspended sentence hanging over your head.
Yeah, I got the 2.5 years over my head. I did the 2.5 years. And then, of course, all the time
So you went the 2.5 years. You never got in trouble again. I mean, you never got
in jail. No, I was kind of.
No, I'm saying when you got out after the year, you still have a suspended sentence, don't you? Like if you get in trouble in the next 2.5 years, you're in trouble. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
I thought you said I did the 2.5 years.
No,
I went.
No. I did the 2.5 years original because 5 years, 2.5 suspended. On 2.5 years, you do a year.
Okay.
So I did 1 year, 1 day. I came home. They sent me to outpatient drug treatment, and the guys were in there. They're all talking about. I never even heard of it.
Right.
And I was like, I want to try that. They're like, no, you don't. Worst mistake of your life. I'm like, definitely doing it now. Don't tell me now. And there's a guy named Brian Murphy, who's a waiter at Bennigan's at Fair Oaks Mall, which all makes sense to me, but you're not from up there. It just dawns on me like,
well, I know what Bennigan's is. We used to have them down here.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it's just a northern thing. Yeah.
It's like Chili's.
Yeah.
It's like Chili's.
Exactly what it is. Yeah. Because we ended up drinking at Chili's that day anyhow. And we go to Chili's and we're in there drinking. And one of the guys that I knew from juvenile detention, his name was Billy Yule. Billy or Eric, because I knew both of them. I think it was Eric Yule or Billy. It doesn't matter. And I see him at Fair Oaks Mall where we're drinking at. And he's like, damn, what are you doing here? I'm like, nothing, I'm out. Yeah, you're out too. He's like, hey, do you want some acid? I was like, absolutely. Thank you. And he gave me the acid and walked off. Like, I haven't seen this kid since juvenile. It's been almost a year and a half. And now he's giving me this acid. So Brian Murphy and I are drinking at Chili's because he worked at Bennigan's and traded this shift. And so we're drinking at Chili's and we dropped the acid. And out of nowhere, he goes, do you really want to go smoke some? And I was like, hell yeah. And it was it was almost like a dream state because we're going down 66. The cars are going by and I'm just tripping hard. I'm like, oh, wow, this is crazy. And I had no idea what it is. I know it's, but I did not understand. Right. So we get to DC and we parked the car and we're walking and he passed these kids. They couldn't be more than 10 or 11 years old. Like, hey, we're looking. They're like, nah, you're a cop. And so, something like that. Yeah. No. And so we walk up on the street. The same kids come up on bicycles. How much do you want? And we got like $100, whatever. They hand it to him. And out of nowhere, there's this, what I consider now was like, you want to go up in the apartment and smoke? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, what? Wait a minute. I don't know.
They provide lodging?
If you want to call it that. Right. And we go up there, and I've never smoked it before, so he's poking holes in this can, and he gets the hole on the side, and he tells me what to do, because he goes first, and then he gives it to me, and we ash on it, and he's like, now, hit it, but not too fast, but not too slow, and you hold it as long as you possibly can. And so I'm holding it, and he actually does the shotgunning for me, so I'm just holding the can. He's doing it with his finger, and I'm lighting it, and he's like, hold it, hold it, hold it, and I'm holding it as long as I can. And when I blow out, it was the on top of the acid, on top of the alcohol. And it's hitting me so hard, I think also because the acid was really big hit, I slid down the wall that I was sitting in. I looked to my left. It's a bathtub with sludge, black sludge, and an old broken up wheelchair. And the toilet has sludge in it. And I'm pretty sure piss and shit in it. And I'm like, oh, this is not good. And I just couldn't shake it. I don't know if it's because of the acid or what. So I'm like, I want it to go. I was like, we got to go. We actually lost the car. Ironically, we had to call Molly and tell her that we're in DC and we had lost the car that we were at. She came and found us and drove us around till we found the car. And then it's crazy. And then we ended up going back to his sister's house in Fairfax, Virginia, because DC's not Virginia. And we go to Fairfax and we finish up a little bit. And then we end up going to Bennigan's because now it's after hours. And we're sitting in there drinking. I can't get it out of my head. Like this thought, I just can't get it out of my head. So I call my mom at like 2:30 in the morning. I call mom and she's like, Jason, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? I was like, Mom, I smoked. She was like,
this is horrible.
And she's like, what? I go, I'm in Bennigan's, I smoke. And she's like, don't move. Mommy's coming. Like, overprotective mom.
All right.
And so she pulls up. I get in the car, and she has a blanket, and she tucks me into the seat. She takes me home, and she tucks me into bed and says, don't go anywhere. Mommy will be home in the morning. And I'm 19. I've been to jail.
Right.
And she leaves, and she comes back at like 10 a.m. with because back then there was Blockbusters with like 4 Blockbuster tapes. She's like, we're going to a psychiatrist. So come on, honey. So we go see the psychiatrist at Woodburn Mental Hospital, who I haven't seen in years. And they're like, oh, it's just a manic episode. It's nothing. Don't worry about it. Let him chill out. Take him home. Let him have a rest, and no big deal. And
okay. And you watched 8 hours of movies.
Well, no, I went and I found more. I ended up after that incident. I found people they came into my life that smoked that shit. Mm-hmm. I got a probation violation, and so I'm dating Story Ellis, even though it's weird that Molly came to get me. I was dating someone, but Story Ellis, who is gorgeous. Anyhow. I'm dating her, and we had a big fight, and she had moved to another townhouse, and I have a probation violation out for me for dirty urine and absconding. And I go to her place, and her roommate knows I have a warrant out for me and calls. All right, bye guys, and we just finished having sex, and I'm chilling. I'm happy as a lark, and you hear the police knock.
I hate to interrupt the podcast, but I need your help. Have you been, or do you know anyone that has been arrested in Polk County? If you have, please contact me. We are desperately looking for guests that have been arrested in Polk County by Grady Judd. The last video we did actually got 1 million views. If you've been arrested, please go in the description box. Either contact me directly, my email's there, or you can fill out the form that we've got. There's a link to the form. My email address is there. You fill out the form or email me. We will contact you, and we're going to try and get you on the program.
I said, what the hell was that? And it was the police knock. I was like, don't answer that door. She's like, I have to answer the door. I said, no, you don't. I'm naked. I go hide in the closet in the other room, and I know the knock. We got to report Jason Brewer's here. We got to search the house. And they came up, and I'm like in the closet in the corner, hiding my little naked ass. Naked as a jaybird. I got arrested twice naked. So actually almost 3 times. But they come in. I was like, all right, let me get dressed.
Right.
And so they let Story throw me my clothes. So I put on my boxer shorts. I put on my I'll tell you the exact outfit. I had Gap jeans, loose fit. I put on my Gap sweatshirt. And as I'm putting on one Tim, I'm looking at the window. There's a window right here. I'm like, I'm jumping out the window. I'm out the window. Like that's my thing. I'm like, as I put my foot in,
and the window's closed.
Yeah, they're closed, and it's snowing out.
Is it second story?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. But I'm thinking, so what? I've seen Fall Guy. So I put the other boots on, and I literally run and jump. But I didn't understand double pane windows. So it was like. And so, like, I'm like kind of out the window, and I'm trying to push myself out, and the police are pulling me in, and I got this glass below me. And I'm like, and now my shirt's up, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna drop on it, and that way they can't take me to jail. I'm gonna like literally drop on this glass, and when I dropped it, it didn't do anything but break it. But what happened was I was trying to push myself out, and I see this hand come out, and they maced the shit out of me, and so it was almost like out of a scary movie, because I'm like pushing out, and like, and they pull me in, dump me. The one cop tries to choke me to death. It was bad. Because, I'm a smart ass. I've already jumped out the window. You maced me. You're choking me. And I said, guys like you in prison. And I've never even been to prison. This really pissed him off. He put the death choke on me. And Story's sitting there going, you're me. And so they finally stopped. They arrested me. And I got 2 years for that. I got a year for the probation violation and a year for attempted escape. So that's when I got my lip bitten off in jail. There's your thumbnail.
There's your TikTok.
there's your thumbnail. Because the conversation, I can't. He's great.
Yeah.
I'm sure this dicks up to your podcast. I got shit on my face. Oh, yeah. I'll point it like, so for you, I don't know if your cameras can see it. If you look, here, all the way back where it gets lighter.
Yeah.
Is where it's bitten off at. So, yeah.
Typically, when you do that, what you need to do is when the person leans in, go,
oh,
and
shit.
do that. Yeah, my wife does that. She'll go, you don't see this? And I'll go, no, what? She'll go, and I'm like, stop it.
So, where we? Oh, I go to jail again. So I get 2.5 years. So.
You know what's upsetting about this, by the way?
What?
Is you seem shocked that they would send you to jail. Like you're like, can you? And for that, they gave me 2 years. Like, no, those bastards. What were they thinking? They're so they weren't understanding of the guy who's smoking, banging chicks, and has warrants, is getting into fights, has been already.
If you ask my mom, I was an angel.
Yeah.
I was laughing because you're like, the 2.5 years. Did you go back? And I'm telling you, like, they didn't just give it to me. It was like 9 months, a year,
right,
6 months. So over the next 5 years, I kept getting time off that 2.5 year sentence. Because you're like, you just never got in trouble? No, that's not the story. So when they gave me 2 years for the 1 year for attempted escape and 1 year for another probation violation, and I'm up in like 3 North 4, and there's
What's
this.
That?
It's a jail. So like when you're in Fairfax County,
it's a prison or a jail?
No, just jail.
Jail. Okay.
I never went to prison until I was 27. I got arrested at 25. I finally made it to prison at 27. I did the 15 years on that. But the 2 years, they never sent me down the road. That's what we call it, down the road. Yeah. Depending on what part of the state it is. Sometimes up the road, down the river, up the river, depending on where you're at. But I was in a pod 304, and there was Darren Williams. Darren Williams was out of Baltimore. Well, there's 2 funny stories about it. One guy was Alan Younger, 6'5", 275, Southeast DC. Man, that guy. He beat me with a chair. That's why my finger's still twisted up. I thought, and he snapped my finger. Because Can I tell both those stories? Because
Yeah.
they're both hysterical. So when I was 19 and I was in there for like, whatever, 3 or 4 months for something stupid that I'd done, a dirty urine or whatever, there was this
Just in this area.
area.
Sorry.
Okay. Water. But I'm in 3 or 4 and I'm loud. Now there's a card table and we have chairs around them.
Right.
And there's 4 guys, including myself, playing cards. All 3 of these guys are black and I'm the one white guy. And I set that shit. What? And I get the TV turned off at night when they're watching wrestling. And I knew him. I knew the CEO is Heflin. I think it was his name Heflin. I said, yo, because the control is in the middle. And so you have five gel pods. And I was like, yo, I'll be quiet. I'll even go to my room. Don't turn off the TV. And they're like, all right, Brewer, go to your room and shut up for the night. And when I went back in, the dude, Alan Younger, that said something, and I cut him like, what? Like, I had no patience, even though he was 6'5". I wanted to fight him anyhow just because he'd always go, Alan Younger, 6'5", 275. Southeast, he said, oh, it pissed me off to no end. And I wanted to be like, I'm 6'1", 165. But I don't care. And then I went up the steps, and there was a little issue then, but the next day, same thing. 3 black guys and me playing cards, and I'm like, set that shit, TV off. But it was during stories, and now he's really pissed off. And I was like, yo, I'll be quiet. I won't say nothing because doors don't open until dinner. And it's like 2 PM. He's like, nah, that's it, TV off. And Alan Young goes, my white boy forgetting his place. I said, what? Man. And I don't know, you can't tell now because I'm not angry, but I get a look of death in my face, like, oh, I'm a murderer now. And I'm not, but I get this really ugly look. And he's like, huh? Oh, that's what I'm talking about. And he tied up his shoes and he came over to me. And that's when I realized what 6'5", 275 Southeast DC looked like. He's like, you got a problem? And I was like, and I don't say shit, but he's poking me in my forehead. And I know I can't give him a fair one. There's just no way we can do that because he'll hurt me. So I didn't say anything. And I kind of like, I don't back down. I just don't say anything. He goes, that's what I thought. And he went back and sat down in his chair. And that's when I knew I had him. And I thought I had him for real. And this is what I'm telling you is gospel. It's not an enhanced story. I ran over and hit him as hard as I possibly could in the side of his face. He goes, that's what I'm talking about. He stood up. That's what I'm talking about. And he stood up. And when he stood up, his chair hit me in the leg. So I grabbed his chair and I'm whacking him with this big, thick blue chair, and I'm hitting him, boom, boom, and he starts running. And then Michael Young, I'm going to say his name is, from D.C., took a step in my direction. So I pointed the chair at him. I was like, oh, get back. So when I went back to hit Alan Younger some more, he's a little far away, and I threw the chair at him, and he catches it. I'm not lying to you. He catches the chair. He goes, oh, you want to hit people with chairs, do you? And he comes to hit this big 6'5", 275 gorilla is about to hit me with the chair. And I go, ah! And when he did it, this finger like does the double. So this goes and this goes. So my finger looks like that now. And that's how my finger looked. And so I'm kind of stunned looking at my finger, but I noticed my head keeps whacking from him hitting me with the chair in it. And somebody from Fairfax slid me a chair. So I looked at my hand and I grabbed it and I straightened it and I grabbed the chair. And I'm whacking him in his legs. And then Michael Chapman, the deputy, who ends up being my brother-in-law, puts the mace through the door, because that's Chrissy's brother.
Right.
Puts the mace through the door. God damn it, Jason, calm down. And I'm thinking, man, this guy's me with a chair. You telling me to calm down? 6'5", 275. I'm a what are you talking about? So he's like, God damn it, Jason, I'm telling you, calm down. I'll mace you. And so this guy quits whacking me with the chair. So I take a step back, and he takes a step back, and he puts his chair down, and I'm putting my chair down. I go to throw it at him again. He picked up his chair. I was like, all right. And I put my chair down. That was the end of it. And the irony is that I went to our cells just for one night because he was being sent to D.C. and they were done. So there was no person for the fighting charge, and I came back up. So then you flash forward.
Well, okay, so then what?
So then I get out, and then I get in trouble. That's when I jump through the window, and they give, and I give myself the 2 years because I don't want to make the courts anything. I did it to myself. And Darren Williams, man, he's carrying. I never got into the racist stuff because Fairfax isn't that racist.
Sorry. You never got into the...
Do you mind not messing up my interview?
I'm sorry.
Good Lord.
You never got into the racist
you're
stuff.
Michael Cox.
I'm Matthew Cox.
Matthew Cox, damn it.
That's fine.
You're a beast. So, what was I saying? So Darren Williams out of Baltimore, only 5'10", Oh man. And he was trying to carry the white guys, but he didn't mess with me per se. But because I play dirty hearts. I do for push-ups. I go to the body. I fit in jail. I like jail. I go in and get strong as shit in jail. That way I could go give it all to the drug dealer when I left. You know what I mean? I get nice and strong and healthy. My family would love me. Come home and work and then end up being an idiot again. But he was carrying the white guy. So I said in my head, I said, if he ever does anything to me, he like make the white guys clean up on his damn, like, man, what are you clean up for that guy for? So I put a note on the telephone. So there's 2 telephones, and back then in like 94, 95, they were 30-minute calls. And I wanted to call Story, my girlfriend. And the only way you knew the time was by touching the TV. So I put Jason's phone at whatever it was, 6:30. And at like 6:15 or 6 o'clock, he walks over and looks at the note, balls it up and throws it. I thought, oh, okay. So I took off my shower shoes and put on my little Kung Fu kicks, the blue shoes. And I keep going over to the TV, touching it. I want to see the time. And so it was like 5 minutes before my phone call. I walked over and I tapped him on because he had taken the trash can and flipped it over and sitting on it. He's talking woo, woo, woo. And I, for the guy earlier that we were talking about. And I go, yo. He's like, what? I said, phone. Some white boy. I said, I'm tapping. I was like, yo, you got 10 seconds. And he hung up the phone. I was like, oh shit, that worked. Yeah, I'm that guy. And so I get on the phone. And back then you had to break through the block. So when you're talking about breaking through the block, I was calling a payphone, which means I had a block on it. But if you take a shower shoe and tap the side of the phone, dun, 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 it would break through the block. So I had done that. Story had answered the phone at Bennigan's, of all places, where she's waiting tables. Remember? Bennigan's is the place to be, evidently. So she worked at Bennigan's at this point as a server. And she answers the phone, and I'm talking to her, and all of a sudden I get I go, what? What are we going to do? After 10 seconds, I said, I was going to take the phone. He goes, oh. And the calmness should have let me know that I was going to get my ass kicked. He walked over to what we call the picnic table, but it's a metal picnic table. It's in jail. And I only remember him saying the name Red, and he called another name, and these trees, these mountains of men came out. And he very politely said, when that white boy gets off that phone, I'm going to take him in that cell and kick his ass. I said, we got away. And I ran over and went at him, and he just starts beating me. Like, he can fight. Like, I like to fight hockey style. You grab my lapel, I grab yours, we hit each other, and whoever doesn't like being hit more quits. That is not how he fought. He fought very well. Boom, 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 jab, punch, punch. And so I grab this guy, knowing I can't match him in hands, and I throw him over by the telephone. I'm like using my strength. I throw him over by the telephone, and I run over and try to kick him. And I'm not lying, man. He blocks it and pieces me all the way up. So the fight goes on, and all you hear is, that's what it sounds like. But it's really my face getting hit a lot more than his.
Right.
And I'm thinking to myself, because this fight's going on for 2 minutes. Like,
that's going a long time for a fight.
Oh my God. Tell me about it.
I'm watching a fight for a minute is like, you're already exhausted. Yeah. People are already, their noses are broken. Yeah. Bad things have already happened.
That's why I lost both my fights. I smoked back then. I did street beef, lost both my fights because I gassed. He saw. I looked good though, didn't I? So I'm thinking, where are the COs?
Right.
Where are the police?
Right.
Like, I don't remember fights going on this long. How come the one I'm in is taking forever? And these are really my thought process as it's going on. Like, damn, this is taking a long time. So I take the last of my energy and I throw him in front of the window, like the bigger windows, in case you're missing this, which I know they're not because the other inmates had to lock in. And when I threw him, it just took the last of my energy, and he stayed on his knees. So when I came over, I kind of slid up to him on my knees, and I grab him and I hit him, and he hits me, and I headbutt him. And when I headbutt him, I see that he has a nice mouse on his eye, and I'm like, oh, bite his face. Yeah. So I went to go bite his face. I think he had the same thought because he actually did bite my lip. So when I ripped back and headbutted him again, I didn't know, but my lip was missing at that point.
Oh my God.
So the second headbutt did it pretty good to him. But I'm so cashed in that I actually push myself, and I see the police getting ready to come in. There's 2 doors I got to come through, and I'm hitting, but I have nothing. Like, I'm like maybe, but it looks as if I'm winning. Mm-hmm. Excuse me, I burped. Let's thumbnail that out. I don't think I know what thumbnail means. I don't think I know what thumbnail means. All right. But as they're coming in, it looks like I'm winning. So they literally handcuff me and help him up. And as they're spinning me with the handcuffs, they're helping him up. And when he hits me, you ever heard of all the bitch coming out of someone? Right. They spun me into and they're helping him up. He hit me so hard, I go, oh!
Oh my God.
And then they slam me down and I'm cuffed and I see just imagine if your faucet's just leaking, not drip to drip, but leaking. And that's what's underneath my face. And then they eventually put me on my butt, my eye, literally, he hit me. Dude, my eye was messed up for a long time. They set me there and go, hey, I know I'm going to the hole, but I think I need medical. Like, don't talk, Brewer. Don't talk. And so, it's kind of bad when you're in Fairfax County Jail, you have A floor, B floor, which we call bitch floor for first timers. And then you have third and fourth floor maximum security. You got to go down the elevators. You got to go by B floor to get to medical. So as I'm going down B floor, I know it's bad. My eye hurts. My lip doesn't feel like anything. It feels like I have a fat lip. But my
really, you have no lip. Wait, is the lip gone?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're about to find out for sure. And so
there's nothing but teeth.
Yeah.
25% of your smile is all teeth right here.
Well, yeah, but it looks like there's fat in there is what it looks like. Because I got a few of the pictures. So when they took pictures of it, I don't have them now, but they're the deputies got in trouble because they were taking pictures of it. They're like, this is great.
we got to see this.
Yeah. As I'm going down B floor to get down to medical, the guys, because you only got a little window, they're going, oh, shit. I know I am effed up looking. I know they're going, oh, because the faces keep doing that. That's not good. And so I get all the way down to medical, and the lady, if this is my mouth, she just keeps touching all around it. The nurse keeps touching all around it. She's like, well, he's got to go to the hospital. I'm like, damn, I got to go to the hospital for that? And she's like, has anybody seen it? And I'm like, seen it? And Fred, we called him Fred Flintstone because he looked like Fred Flintstone, the deputy. He goes, I got his lip right here on a request form. I go, my lip. And the biggest tear goes over the biggest swelling because that's what it felt like. I was like, my lip. And this big ass tear goes up and over my eye and down my face. And they sent me out to Fairfax Hospital. And the plastic surgeon was pissed because she was in a real nice gown. I guess she was on call. And she came in and fixed my lip up. 4.5 hours of plastic surgery.
I mean, it looks good for having been off of your face for a while.
Yeah, pretty cool, right?
God.
And then I guess that, things just went downhill from there. I mean, honestly, things just got progressively worse from there. I tried to commit. After that, I got
in prison.
No. So I just do my little two year. The 2 years is 9 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So 2 years was only 9 months. I'm still all old law. The law, it had to be 94 because they changed the law in 95 to really 91%, but they say 85%. They changed the law after that politician's daughter got carjacked in Virginia. I just went downhill from there. I got real strung out on drugs and alcohol. I was out on the street prostituting for it. I was,
Where are you staying during this time?
Streets, couch to couch, anywhere I could. My girlfriend would take me in for a bit. My mom would take me in for a bit, but I never stayed anywhere very long.
How long did that last?
I was 21. I tried to kill myself, and then I spent.
And this is, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead.
In 21, I was staying with a guy named Greg. He's dead. Greg Bigelow. He's dead now. I'm pretty sure he offed himself, but he was dying of AIDS anyhow. And we partied at his place, and I didn't know he had AIDS. I didn't know he was dying already. He's a nice guy. And I found all of his medicine. His medicine had a bunch of Percocet, a bunch of Valium, a bunch of everything. And in my head, I felt like I lost story. Nobody in my family wanted to be around me. I hated myself. I was living on the streets for the most part. Everything I got, I used for drugs and alcohol. I didn't want to be a part of this world at that point. And so I was like, when the party's over, the party's over. So when we finally ran out of all the drugs and alcohol, I took all of his pills. And I mean, all of them. I took 3 or 4 bottles and chased it down with half a bottle of vodka. And normally Greg goes into his bedroom and sleeps for about 12 hours. I'm thinking that's plenty, because as soon as he went to bed, shut the door, I had all this planned. And I started taking it. And it was so easy to get down. That's how I knew I was, I've tried with pills before to kind of a cry for help. But this was like, I'm done. But anyhow, he came out of the room about 6 hours later. I was purple. Called the ambulance. First he picked up, it's funny because he told me, he's like, I picked up all the drugs before they came. Don't worry. Like the paraphernalia. I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
And I was in a coma for about 12 days.
Holy shit. Like you didn't, like, because, you know, a lot of times people take a bunch of pills and they end up, your stomach like rejects it and you throw it up. You just.
Nope. I don't remember much. Just that he came out. I was purple. They called the paramedics. The paramedics came, and Molly. Story wasn't coming to see me. He called Molly because he knew Molly, and she came in. And from what they told me, the doctor was like, "Why isn't his family here? He's not coming out of it. He has heart. He's in a coma. He's touch and go. We don't think he's going to make it. His family needs to come in and say goodbye." That's what they told me. The doctor said. So that's why she contacted my mom.
Right.
And that was the first time I wouldn't really call it. I'm not religious by any stretch of the imagination, but I came to with my mom holding my hand, praying. That's how I came out of the coma. She was saying goodbye, holding my hand, and she was praying. And that's when I saw her, and I thought, damn, am I dead? And I wasn't. And then it just got worse from there.
Well, you keep saying that, bro.
But it does.
So you woke up out of the coma after 12 days?
12 days, and they kept me in a psych ward for about a week. But nobody wanted me. Like, I didn't have anywhere to go. And all I could think is I want to get out of here and get back to what I was doing. Now that I remember yelling at my mom, she came into the psych ward to see me, and I'm cussing her out. I'm like, I was in the cosmos, happy, and you had to go bring me into this world. I hate you. And this is what I did for the person that loves me, has been trying to save me, and she's just bawling. I didn't, it's funny because I was in so much pain, I couldn't see anybody else's pain. I didn't see how anything I did affected anybody else. But now that I look back on it, I'm like, man, who the fuck talks to their mom that way? But it was just, I was very sick at the time.
What's that? It's that addict behavior. Yeah. And, you're around enough of them, you can see it now immediately. It's that entitlement.
The victim mentality.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you had my, but it got worse. I started robbing drug dealers in D.C., getting shot at, pistol whipped, beaten. And I was 20. Wait, let me back up.
You're robbing drug dealers and you're getting pistol whipped, or you're pistol whipping them?
No, I'm getting, because I was doing the grab and goes.
Oh, okay.
The grab the package and run. And getting shot like I went to do. I was doing it so often, and I had this yellow Geo Storm that was really Story's car. And I'd pull up, the guy just put the gun in my head. You got me last week. And you know what's funny? Drug dealer was cool as shit. I was like, it wasn't me. He's like, bullshit, yellow car, red hat, it's you. And he was like, what are you getting? I was like, 100. He's like, nah, you took 100 from me last week. I'm going to give you, I think he said 40 or 60, and you still owe me. I was like, that is awesome. And then he does that for me, and then whoever I got before that punches me in the face. Like, he was cool. He doesn't me. As soon as I pull, he's like, nah. And so whatever. And then it gets, the thing to this is, then it gets worse. So I'm 20.
That'll be the clickbait.
Yeah. I had a big fight with Story. I was 24 years old.
I can't believe this chick's still around.
Story, Molly, I love them. It's probably because I'm a terrible lover. I don't know.
I was going to say, it must be something else is going on here.
Yeah.
Something,
It's not the looks. It's not the baby face.
It must be. You must have improved dramatically since the chicks swimming in the pool. What was her name? The first love?
Molly Barnes.
Oh, it's the same chick?
Yeah, Molly and Story stuck around forever. Molly kept up with me the whole time. Like, Molly wrote me a letter while I was in prison. I've been down about 8 years. Like, I have a husband and children, and I'm happy. I will never love them like I love you. Story, the second I came home from prison, dropped the guy she was with.
Let's hope her husband doesn't see this.
I'm sure he won't. They're very successful, wealthy people. They're not paying attention. I hope not.
What does that say about my viewers?
I have for whatever reason, and this is not boasted, it has nothing to do with ego, I have quite the effect on women. I think probably because I'm so broken, they just want to heal me, and they probably can't figure out how to reach me. Yeah. I'm guessing. I have no clue. My wife, to this day, worked 9/11 Jesuit school. Perfect woman, strong, perfect, beautiful, and I can't love her. I don't know how to do it. It's a weird thing. There's something inside of me about, if you love me, it hurts. But if you only like me and are using me for sex, it's okay. And that's a hard reality to come to. And it's taken me 3 years of not drinking and drugging to even begin to understand that that's where I'm at. People that love me, truly love me, hurt me. And I'm saying it wrong. They're not hurting me. Their love for me hurts me because it's something about it doesn't make sense to me.
Because you feel like you don't deserve it?
Yeah, I know how filthy. I know the things I've done. I know the hurt I've caused. And it's one thing for you to like me and be there for me, but it's another thing for you to love me unconditionally. I don't understand it. And it almost makes me angry at them. I'm almost resentful at them. You know, it's one, like I get along great with him, but if he loved me unconditionally, I'd probably get away from me. We could be, you know what I mean? He won't even sleep under the covers with me. Clickbait.
Yeah, you'd have to. There was a whole pre-story. It's not what it sounds like. You know? But maybe it is.
Just easy, baby. I'm not gonna put it out there.
Oh my!
Clickbait, kidding.
Yeah, they gotta subscribe to Patreon if they want the full story.
Oh yeah.
What's Patreon?
Oh my God, bro!
I don't know what Patreon. I don't know what it is.
It's where people can support you. And they sign up for whatever you determine the amount is. We're saying $10 a month, you know. So you say for $10 a month, you can be a part of my Patreon, and it's a different what format or
It's a different platform.
Like a website.
We'll post videos that are longer and uncensored, pretty much the whole raw conversation.
Right.
I like Patreon.
Yeah.
We can do our Diddy clips.
And then what's good about it is that, well, first of all, you don't have to do anything. Right. You can just say, hey, if you want to support me, and people could give you $10 a month, and you never put anything. I mean, we put stuff on there. I think that's what would make it more successful. Okay. Not that mine's overwhelmingly successful, but we really just started pushing it.
Yeah.
But there are some guys that make, you know, tens of thousands of dollars just on Patreon. So yeah, like you could do a Patreon because people would want to help support you, because people, as they watch your story and watch you get better or become more successful or kind of rebuild your life, people want to support you.
Right. Oh, that's pretty good. That's really cool. I just never heard of it.
And it's $10 a month. Like people don't, they do it, and then every once in a while maybe they go back and they check and they can watch it, and you can leave them messages and you can talk to them or whatever.
Right.
You'd be shocked.
I'm worth 20. Negotiate for 20. Where were we at?
You coma, yelling at your mother. Do you get out of the hospital?
And then I'm out. I'm with Story, and we have this big, huge fight. I'm 24 years old, so I hitchhike out to Winchester. I don't have a car anymore. Like my car was Story's car,
right?
Or whatever girl I was with at the time. I just I'd use their car, and I hitchhike out to Winchester, Virginia. And this is how. I want you to imagine this. I'm in Winchester, Virginia, and I'm out riding around. I meet some redneck, and we're out driving around, and we go by this corner market store, and there is a girl who is pregnant fighting another girl. I said, what the hell is this? Because you don't see this in Fairfax.
Right.
This is Winchester. You're in Winchester now, boy. And I'm sitting there watching it, and her sister was there to support her 8-month pregnant sister fighting. I was like, what world am I in? This is awesome. Let's go out drinking after this. And I ended up sleeping with Robin, her sister. She's,
the one that was there for support?
Yeah, that was there for support. And this raggedy ass Ford Escort, probably made in the 80s, I'm guessing. And we were out hanging out, and I was drinking, and she was 18, I was 24. She drops me off. I think I'm staying at like the Garrison's house. Oh wait, one of their children died. Anyhow, so we go to the Garrison's house, and we're outside kissing and making out. And she lets me go ahead and do the do, and I'm like, hey, I got a release. She's like, oh, go ahead. I can't get pregnant. I'm like, God, I love this chick. Wrong.
Listen, I've heard that before.
Yeah, wrong.
I already got one kid after that conversation.
Dumber in the bag of dicks. So. After that, she's pretty good. Like I was like young, blonde, tall, pretty, but I was drunk all the time. Here's a great story about them. I'm with the Garrisons. I'm like, man, she's coming over. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, man, dude, she's 6 foot tall, blonde hair, blue eyes. She should be a model. Like, I'm like, she's smoking hot, bro. And I'd only seen her when I was drinking. I mean, really drinking. And so she comes in with her pregnant sister, Meg, to this Christmas party. And I'm like, yo, there she is. And they go, her? I'm like, yeah, her. They're like, her? I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? She's 6 foot tall, blonde hair, blue eyes. She's gorgeous. Like, I don't think so, bro. And I thought I thought she was doing makeup to look heroin chic. Nope, wrong.
Makeup to look what?
Like heroin chic.
Oh, yeah.
She was real skinny and she had really dark eyes. So I thought that was like her makeup. Wrong. Terrible skin. Because I woke up next to her the next day. I was like, damn, they're right. Oh, your butt. You're nasty as shit. Pregnant. Because I slept with her like 4 or 5 times over the month. And then like she came to see me. She's like, by the way, I'm pregnant. I'm like, and I caught an assault charge for this. This is crazy how you catch assault charges. we're in an apartment and she's telling me this and she's sitting in a chair and I go, wait a minute, you're pregnant? I was like, you told me you can't get pregnant. She's like, oh, I didn't think after the miscarriage I'd get pregnant again. I was like, and I picked up the chair. I was like, you've been pregnant before. And I slammed the chair down, but it breaks. And then her sister is like on, like, I don't know, she's like the Flash. She has the phone in her hand with 911 before the chair breaks. So I snap the phone cord and call them some dumb whatever and walk out. And then there's a charge out for me for assault on a family member. I'm like, how is she a family member? Because she's pregnant. Oh my God, it was brutal. She didn't show up for court though. It got dismissed. So I'm nice enough to her till the court case happens. She's pregnant and I decided to go back to Fairfax.
I'm nice enough until the court case happens.
Right?
Right.
You lied to me already. I mean, damn. Anyhow,
Okay.
I played a big part in that by having unprotected sex. Don't do that. You should get a puppy instead of a kid. So I go back to Fairfax and story, I'm like, I'm in town. I'm actually with some chick. I tried heroin for the first time. That's how I get back. And I call story and I'm like, I'm in town. She's like, do you want to meet? I'm like, yeah. So I take this heroin chick's car to go meet Story and we end up having sex in the field. But she's asking me like, did you get married? I'm like, next, I was gone 6 months. She's like, did you get married? No. She's like, did you get someone pregnant? I said, ironically enough, I did. Immediately, she's like, I want you to leave her. You're coming out to my house in Sterling. We're going to stay in Sterling. And we started having sex 7 to 8 times a day. And she's like, come in me. It makes, or release inside me. It feels better. We've been together off and on for 7 years. Never felt better before because we never did it before because we didn't want to have kids before. And after she's pregnant, she's like, stop doing that. It makes me smell. But she didn't want to have a kid. So now I have 2 women pregnant, 4.5 months apart. And then, and it only gets worse.
Yeah, and then it gets worse.
And it gets worse from there. So after that, I had these 2 women pregnant. All I'm doing is doing drugs and drinking because that was the threat she gave me. She's like, okay, I'm pregnant. I'll take care of you. Me and my parents will take care of you, but you can't drink or drug. If you do drink or drug, I'm going to Westchester with my parents. And I was like, okay, game on. I call your bluff. And I left right then and went to go hide. No bullshit. Right after that weekend, I came back, kind of tail talk. She's like, it's okay. You can help me move. I'm moving in with my parents in a month. And that was the last time I saw her. No, I saw her one more time, but briefly when she was pregs. And then I went to jail.
For what? Would you go to jail for that?
Oh, shit. Oh, I'm sorry. So after that, and she left, I kind of went off the deep end. And if it couldn't get any worse, I was just around the clock, drinking and drugging, robbing, stealing, getting shot at, pistol whip, beat down, pit bull biting me, hit with a metal something of a chair. Anyhow, it got bad. And so I was like, I don't want to sell myself anymore. I don't want to beg my mother for money anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I need to go to jail because that's where I'm safe at. That's a hell of a thing to believe, but that's what I thought. So I called a friend because back then they had payphones. So I called a friend and I said, hey, I'm going to rob the Blue Max gas station with a fake gun and a pair of shorts. If I didn't tell him that, I just said I'm going to rob the Blue Max gas station. He's like, bro, I'll take you to detox. And I said, I don't deserve detox. And I hung up. And I went into the Blue Max gas station because we had a Ford Bronco parked on this, kind of got to go over a ditch, but anyhow, it's on the side of the road right up the street from the Blue Max gas station. I walked in a pair of shorts, a tattoo that said Story on my chest because it's the only tattoo I had at the time that was plucked in jail. That was funny because I only had half the tattoo when I got my lip bit off. I had to get the guy when I came out of the hole to come back over to the other pot I was in and finish it up. I forgot about that. And I walked in, and have you guys ever seen a movie? Like, give me the money. And then next thing it's in a bag.
Right.
So I thought that's how it would go down because I had never robbed anything before. So I walk in with this fake cap gun. I'm like, give me the money. He's like, no. What? I said, give me the money. And he was like, no. So when I put the gun down, then he opened up the till, the cash register. And I'm like, Put it in the bag. He's like, no. So I grabbed the money and I stuffed it in my pockets and shit, my pair of shorts. And I was like, the big bills are underneath. Lift it up. He's like, no. So I do this. Like, I just want to just fingerprint, but there's no big bills underneath of it. And so
Have you left your fingerprints?
yeah, I mean, whatever. I was like, there's a big black guy across the street with a gun. He'll shoot you if you call the cops. I'll tell you, the biggest rush I had was from that first robbery because I started taking off out of the parking lot. And it's a big, there's like a drainage ditch beside the road. Dude, I leaped over that, no problem. And so I jumped in the car and we're headed to D.C. and you can see all the cops going this way on 66 while we're going this way on 66. And then after I robbed that, I robbed a Citgo for I only got like $745 for that. I robbed a Citgo for $85. I jumped over the counter at a record and tape exchange and got like $500. I robbed Greg. I didn't rob Greg, but I grand larceny him for $2,000. I just went to his house and grabbed his keys and went to his trunk. I knew where he kept his money. I took that. And then I went to Virginia Beach and I robbed a Chinese restaurant with a fake gun, and that's when it stopped because everybody else was just annoyed. When I robbed the Citgo gas station, I went in with what were they called? A handyman knife, but it's not really a knife; it's like a tool thing. And so I'm working this handyman like it's like it's a butterfly knife, but it's really pliers. Like there could be a knife, and I'm like, give me the money. It's not a very good robbery.
Oh, so I mean, are these back-to-back robberies?
Yeah, back-to-back. Like I robbed the gas station, let's say Wednesday, Citgo Thursday, whenever the money run out Thursday, Greg on Friday, record and tape exchange on a Monday. And then we headed down to Virginia Beach, and Virginia Beach is where it stopped for me because when I robbed the Chinese restaurant, she screamed. Everybody else was annoyed. They were men. They were annoyed. And the people at Record Tape Exchange, they were high kids. They thought it was funny. They didn't even have a register. They just had it in a cigar box. I like jumped up on the stand and said, isn't life a bitch?
So at any point, was there an actual point when you thought, hey, I should
have it?
Was there ever a point when you thought I should stop doing this and get a regular job and be a regular citizen?
No,
there was never a time when you thought. Are you telling people this though? Like, oh, I'm going to clean up.
No, like I would work for Randy and I would do like manual labor roofing. Right. But he was like, you're the most expensive hammer picker upper I've ever met. I bring you here for your for you, not for your work ethic.
Right.
Like I had no skills. Right. My father was a roofer. I can't nail the shingle to save my life.
Right.
If you're like $1 million, go nail that shingle straight. Sorry. I'll give you my best. You're not going to get a straight roof with me.
Okay. So you robbed how many places did you rob?
So I robbed the Blue Max gas station. Right. And then I robbed this Citgo gas station. I jumped over the counter at the record and tape exchange. They count that as a grand larceny. They didn't have a register. They just had their money in a cigar box. And I took it. It's so funny. I jumped over the counter and I jumped in. I grabbed and I jumped back up on the counter like I'm surfing. Like I must have saw it in like Point Break.
Yeah.
I said, isn't life a bitch? And took off. That one was funny. And then I took Craig Bigelow's $2,000 out of his car. And then I went down to Virginia Beach and robbed that place. So I don't get caught for any of them yet. And I came back to Virginia and I'm trying to separate myself because I threatened both of them. Like, if you tell me, I'll kill you. Because I got real upset after the Chinese restaurant. She screamed. It was not cool. Like I walked in, I was like, hey, do you have change for $1 bill? And she was like, okay. And she hit it and I pulled out the fake gun and she screamed. She was literally scared. And I didn't like any of that.
Right.
That was not cool. Everybody else was annoyed by me. I was like the nice robber. And she was literally scared. And I didn't like that. So I was real pissed off when we left there. I was like, you guys for this. Because it was their idea. I'm blaming, I'm the professional victim,
Right.
I'm an addict.
So they don't catch you for those.
Mm-mm. So I'm at 7-Eleven meeting my mom for cigarettes, and this not older, well, to me, I was 24, 25 at the time. 25. She had a little hitch in her giddy up. I helped her carry her wine to the door, and when she gave me a hug, I shook her hand, and I let her, anyhow, it was a big innuendo what I wanted, and she was hobbled. She was like, okay, come on over. So I was staying with her, And then I got her addicted to it. And then I wanted to see Jacob was born at this point. And so I wanted to see Jacob. So Robin came in. She was all for it. Bring your son in. That'd be great. And I was sleeping. I was passed out. And
Who's Robin?
Oh, Jacob's mother.
Okay.
The chick that said she couldn't get pregnant, the one I broke the chair on?
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, she stuck around too. They all do.
Jesus, bro.
Like
What the hell?
So that makes me look douchey. Let's make that where I'm not a complete dickhead about women.
He's not that good of an editor.
Yeah, it's good. It's good for engagement.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, Colby's willing to Colby's willing to destroy your reputation for some views.
And as you should be. So she brings Jacob and I fall asleep and somehow I bump her and Jacob's crying. I'm like, shut the get up. And she gets all upset. So she says, now I don't know that this is true because I've been up for days, drunk, I've been high for days, and I've been like, shut him up. And so she gets pissed off and leaves and calls the police, not knowing I have all these robberies. Right. She's calling the police on me for whatever. All I remember for sure was that Jacob was in a car seat and she's like, say goodbye to your son. I was like, goodbye. And went back to sleep. And the next thing I knew was I heard knocking, but not like Stories knocking where it's boom, 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 because she had a solid storm door. So they're knocking on the glass. And my friend Rich, who's now upstairs with the woman, the guy that I did all the robberies with, he's like, hey, Robin and Jacob are at the door. Get up and get it. So I go up there completely ass naked, kind of like when I was in the closet, and open the door to, 20 Fairfax City police.
So they hadn't caught you for the robberies, but they had ID'd you already.
Yeah, they knew. Yeah,
okay.
yeah, but they had never caught me for them.
So when she says that, when she mentions your name, they're like, oh, hey, we got a warrant for that dude.
Yeah, where is he at? Right. We'd love to have a conversation. Right. So they came in. I tried to be Travis Brewer. They weren't going for it. They're like, nah, it's you. And so they let me get dressed and took me to the the little station in Fairfax. It's a very small substation before you go to the jail. And they're like, oh, we're just waiting on the detectives. And I'm like, wait, I'm like so tired. I've been handcuffed to this table for hours. I'm like, come on. And then the detectives come in, take me into a room, start the recorder. They read me my Miranda rights. And they're like, okay, so you want to tell us anything? I was like, about what? They're like, well, we know about the robberies and we know that you used the caravan. I was like, oh, they didn't know anything. And I said, attorney. And he kept pressing. I said, attorney. I said, I want attorney. And he stops. He's like, a piece of shit like you doesn't get one. I'm like, you. And so they're like, okay.
He shuts off the recorder and stuff.
Yeah. He's like, piece of shit like you doesn't get one. And we go to jail. And this is where it gets kind of funny because that's when I knew I was really, really. We get to the magistrate and he's reading off the robberies and the gun charges. And I'm like, oh shit, man, I am really. And he goes, abduction of Jacob Daniel Brewer. I said, what? Abduction of Robin Coffin. I'm like, I didn't do that. And I start cussing at him. And this detective, not Detective Little ended up himself, but the detective that I'm beefing with, the one that says I'm a piece of shit, I'm a good attorney, literally grabs my throat and pins me like he's choking me. And I do one of these numbers and try to look at the magistrate. And I said, you know what, the magistrate does this. And that's when Detective Little, when he had his partner release my neck, and I was 156 pounds. Understand, I was tiny.
Right. I was
a shell of a man. I was just a skeleton. I thought I was back to the heroin chic. I thought I looked good. I was like, I'm so ripped. You can see every muscle. You're just disgusting. He said, don't worry about the ones you didn't do. Worry about the ones you did. And so I went to jail. I had 13 charges, 11 felony, 2 misdemeanor. I got 10 days for contempt of court because when I beat the 2 abductions, like Robin showed him testify, like, he didn't abduct me. He didn't prevent me from leaving. He didn't assault me. Like, those charges were dismissed, but I pled guilty to 2 robbery and 2 grand larceny. And because all the gun charges went away, my co-defendant said it was a fake gun. But it doesn't matter in Virginia. If there's a gun, the threat is the same to the person whether it's real or fake. But they were cool about it. They were like, all right, we're going to drop all these if you plead to these. So I pled guilty to 2 robberies, 2 grand larcenies. He's like, you realize you can receive life, and 20 and 20 for a total of 2 life sentences in 40 years. And I said, yes, I understood that. And the prosecutor laughed. So I got mad and I kicked the chair at him, because I couldn't get to him. So I kicked the chair at him. I said, this is my life. And kicked the chair out. The deputies didn't appreciate that. Man, the cuffs were on so hard, bro. So they cuffed me really, really tight, and they set me in the holding cell for about 30 minutes, and they brought me back. And anytime I went to court after that, which was not good, there was always like 6 deputies around me, pinning me, holding me there. Don't move. Like they were deep.
Right.
And so they finally took off the cuffs and place your hands in front. Don't move them off the table. All that shit. And so he gave me 10 days for contempt of court, and I just kind of laughed. I was like, okay. I just plead guilty to 2 life sentences and 40 years. And so when sentencing came, my guidelines were 11 years, 7 months to 18 years with a mid-range of 15. So I thought I was going to get to 15-3. And the judge was really cool. He gave me 20, 20, 20, or 20, 20, 20, and 20. 8 years, 5 months suspended. So I ended up with 11 years, 7 months, and the 10 days for contempt of court. And so I'm done in Fairfax. And I'm thinking it's over. And I get a pro visit downstairs. I'm like, what the hell am I getting a pro visit for?
What's a pro visit?
When
Probation?
No, pro visit is either an attorney or a deputy or whatever. It's pro. It's not a regular visit. It's a pro visit. It could be anything.
Okay.
So I thought it was my attorney, and it was 2 detectives from Virginia Beach. So the guy, Rob, or Richard or Rob, I forget his name now, but who was my co-defendant, also had 15 felony check charges. And to get out of them, he told them about the robbery in Virginia Beach. Okay. Which they had another guy arrested for. Like they weren't even looking at me for that. I left no fingerprints. He did. He looked similar to me. He had a violent past. He was arrested. He was away, and he told on me for that one. So they came to see me, same thing. Do you have anything to say? F you. I want an attorney. And I walked out. Because it was different this time. They weren't there to read my Miranda. They just asked me if I wanted to tell them anything. I said, F you, and I walked out. I was mean back then. Much meaner at that point. I'm like, I got to harden up. A dude told me, I was like, you got to harden up. You're going to prison. It's time to be hard now. You're not in jail anymore. And I took that advice because I was not going to be punked in prison. So anyhow, I took it to trial. I had a 4-day trial. The lady I robbed said, looks like him a bit, can't be sure. My 2 co-defendants' testimony sucked because they did testify, but it was, did you see the robbery? No. Would you be facing 3 robbery charges right now, plus all these check charges from your grandmother that you stole from? Yes. So I got a hung jury. The jury foreman actually called my attorney and apologized. It was 9-3 my way. And so they offered me 5 years. And I figured, I did it. 5 years. It's 16 years, 7 months, 10 days.
Jesus.
In total. And so that's what I did.
But the second sentence gets stacked. Right, you're adding an additional 5 years. So in total, so they gave me 20 years with 18 suspended for the robbery. Instead, they gave me 3 years for the gun, so I got 5 years tacked on to run consecutive. So I went from 11 years, 7 months, 10 days to 16 years, 7 months, and 10 days, which meant I should have done 14 years and 2 months, but I kept getting in trouble in prison, so I did 15 years, 20 days. Bro. So where fuck. I don't know why when I hear people's sentences, I mean, I did 13 years, but when I hear people say, yeah, I did 10 years, I'm always like, 10 years?
Right.
You hear them like, wait, didn't you do 13? It does, yeah, but that sucked too. But fuck, still though, you can't be robbing people.
No, it's bad.
No. They frown on that. Law enforcement, they got no sense of humor.
I don't like it. It's just weird.
You did scare the old Chinese lady.
Yeah, that was not cool. That was definitely not cool.
But so you go to prison. Where did they send you? What kind of a prison? Like they have in the state system, they have do they have like pens, mediums, lows, and camps, or what's it called?
So
what's the hierarchy?
The lowest is a level 1, the highest is a level 6. So like a 1 would be a row camp, a 2 is a dorm, majors are 3s, and then you have the supermaxes, which I went to twice, Sussex 1, Red Onion, and Wallens Ridge. But I only went to Sussex 1 twice. I started, and it was funny because I was really nervous about going to prison. I'm working out every day. I'm beefed up to about 220. I've never been 220. I'm pushing up, dipping, doing Tyson squats. I'm like, I'm nervous. I'm going to prison. I'm freaking out. And the first prison I go to is what we call Sweet Meadows. It is the softest prison in Virginia prison systems. Like you come in like, hey, get a juice, sit down. We're going to give you a haircut. We're going to give you some clothes and your laundry. You can go, you'll be in building 1B. I'm like, holy shit, this is cool. So, they give me a haircut, and I have to shave because you can't have any hair on your face in Virginia prisons unless you have a shaving profile. And I go down, and it's nothing. Like, as you pull in, there's like a little razor wire, a couple fences. I'm like, this is prison? This is what I've been sweating the whole time? And it was no big deal. I was only there for a very short time because I had heard a child molester in jail and called it aggravated assault. I had fighting charges. So when I went for my classification hearing, my age, my time, and my inmate record put me at 35 points, which put me at a supermax. So I went from the sweetest little prison in the world. I was like, oh, I like this dorm life. I was loving it. I had my homeboy Josh there with me, my homeboy Rico. I'm lifting weights. I'm having fun. I'm tasting freedom. I got a sunburn. I hadn't seen the sun in 26 months. I've been in jail 26 months. And then the train ride, I was like, and when she said you're going to Sussex 1, my counselor, I was like, wait a minute. Why? I've never been to prison before. She said, oh, you'll be fine. Oh, and here's one other thing. This is something that I've always thought about. My mom came to see me. Well, first of all, when my lip got bitten off, my brother thought I was hysterical. My mom was crying. But when I was like, Mom, I'm going away for a long time. She's like, good. You'll survive in there. You know what to do. I can't go to bed every night thinking you're going to die, so I'm happy you're going.
If you sleep hot at night, you know how disruptive that can be. Whether you're having trouble falling asleep, you're waking up sweating in the middle of the night, or all of the above. That's where Ghost Bed can help. As the makers of the coolest beds in the world, Ghost Bed is your go-to for cooling mattresses, cooling pillows, and cooling bedding. From their signature Ghost Ice fabric to patented technology that adjusts to your body's temperature, every Ghost Bed mattress is designed with cooling in mind. So whether you want a plusher mattress that cushions your shoulders and hips, or a firm option with exceptional support, your Ghost Bed will keep you cool and comfortable all night long. When you purchase a Ghost Bed mattress, your comfort is guaranteed. You can try out your mattress for 101 nights, risk-free, to make sure it's the right fit for you. Plus, they offer free shipping, and most items are shipped within 24 hours. If you're not sure which Ghost Bed is right for you, check out their mattress quiz. You'll answer a few questions and get a personalized recommendation. Even better, our listeners can get 50% off site-wide for a limited time. Just visit ghostbed.com/Cox and use the code COX at checkout. Again, that's ghostbed.com/Cox with the code COX at the checkout to save a whopping 50% off site-wide.
Yeah. It was a relief to her. And what a profound thing to say. And it makes sense now. At the time, she was like, it was very weird because my mom's very strong. She goes, you do what you have to do. You go in there and you be a man. You do what you got to do. And then I was like, going away for a long time. She said, it's okay. You'll be fine in there, but I need sleep. I don't have to worry about a call every night you're dead or this or that. And that was a big deal to me. That really shocked me. But I also like the encouragement. You do what you have to do. Mm-hmm. Go in there and be a man. And she was proud of me. I didn't snitch on anybody. I demanded an attorney. My co-defendants got PR bonds. They never did a day. They testified, and I felt like I was a man because I thought if I had told anything and went to prison, that'd be it. Like I believe that if you snitch and you go to prison, that's it. It's not the truth, but that's what I thought at the time. Right. I saw lifers wanting to keep their single cell telling on anybody. Didn't matter. But anyhow, so when I took the trip to Sussex 1, let me tell you, there's never been anything. People think it's like and I did. I can't say what people do. I know I romanticize prison. I'm like, shit, I've seen enough movies. I'm gonna have fun. It's gonna be somewhat scary. Somebody's gonna get raped. I hope it's not me. But when I pulled up to Sussex 1, and I can't explain it. You'd have to see it. It's just fence with razor wire, fence, razor wire. Like, and the doors are just to get into it. Everything is getting very freaking real. Everything is cold. Everything is quiet. The COs are not polite anymore. They're walking around with shotguns. I'm like, what the f- is going on? And when I get in there, they're like, they leave you. There's several of us, and they do each guy at a time. And when it was my time, strip, turn around, spread your ass cheeks, cough, lift up your balls, put your hands through your hair, run your hands through this. And then they come in. They're recording this the whole time. Right. And they grab me and they spread me eagle. And they grab me by the back of the head and they bend me over. And now I'm tensing up because I'm really, really scared. I'm flipping out because I don't know what is really going on. They lift me up. They're like, we have permission to use force. Do you see that red line? You cross that red line, we will kill you. And I start tensing up and they think I'm getting buck with them. Right. And they're about to hurt me. And it was a female lieutenant that said, can't you tell he's scared? Calm down. And she's like, can you calm down? And I have tears in my eyes and I'm breathing heavy and I'm real tight. And because I've been like, I'm flipping out. This is the most terrifying thing I've ever experienced. Short of probably childhood. Right. them and they kind of calmed down and I went and I walked to my pod, which my original pod was 4D. And that was not fun. I walked up in there and I was like, shit's real. Shit is real. I may have made a mistake. It wasn't until that point that I was like, I may have fucked up. But Sussex one wasn't as bad the first time I went. It was pretty cool. It was all like they had to empty the majors because they had just built these prisons from 95 to 97. So they filled it up. By 2003 when I got there, or 2001, excuse me. Well, I got there Christmas Eve, so I was getting ready to turn 2002. They had all the guys that had been down 20 years up there. And all they wanted to do was get back down to where there's ice cream and soda pop.
Right.
You know, in the commissary, they had ice cream, soda pop there. No, none of that. Nothing that could be made into a knife. Nothing nice. Because soda pop cans, you can make a knife.
Oh, okay.
Razors. Like, you had the security toothbrushes. You didn't have real toothbrushes.
Okay, those suck. Yeah.
Yeah, it was brutal. No toothpicks. But, they kind of schooled me there the first time. All had schooled me. I didn't have one fight. I didn't have any issues at Sussex 1. I got along great. Tony Lewis, who came off death row in the 70s they put him on death row for the CO trying to escape. He blinked all the time. He was always blinking. Then his fat man too. I was like, why are you always blinking, Tony? He goes, I'm like that myself. That's right. He talks real funny. And he's always blinking. He's always blinking because he wasn't used to the light. Because he sat on death row for so many years that he had it completely blacked out.
So how long were you there?
I was only there 2 years. My level dropped, and then I went to Augusta.
Okay.
Augusta. I was at Augusta for 6 years, but I got in a lot of trouble at Augusta. In a sense, that's where it's weird because that's where I transformed into soda pop. That's when I transformed into my alter ego. Because it's kind of funny at Sussex 1, after you go through your 90-day evaluation, they put me in 2D and ended up on the top tier. And, even though my cellie was black, there's a lot of white dudes. And because the racism wasn't there. It's not like I heard all about federal prisons and being in cars. I was never in a gang. I was never a white supremacist. I was recruited by the Crips, which I thought was just hysterical because I was in my stone in my sentence. Like, are you kidding me? You ever heard of the show Dawson's Creek?
Yeah.
I'd never seen Dawson's Creek. So you got all these thugs that are doing life in 20 and 10 and 17 years like me, and we lock into Dawson's Creek, and you only get like an hour rec a day. Mm-hmm. But if Dawson's Creek was on when the doors popped, you'd see all of us thugs put our heads out. Nah, man, Creek on. I'll go back inside.
Trying to make it sound cool. Creek on.
The Creek is on. It's a teenage drama show.
Mm-hmm. There are guys in Coleman who've been locked up, 20, 30 years, and they'd literally watched soap operas every day. They'd never missed. They'd watch them nonstop.
And they call them their girls. That's my girl.
Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy.
They know everything about every character, and they can tell you what character has died off, and they brought them back as another character, and they know the show's inside and out.
Yeah.
Or you'd see guys that are like, 40, 50 years old men who'd been locked up 20, 30 years, and they're knitting. Like they would knit. You ever see the old guys that knit?
I didn't see that. We didn't have knitting then. You were in feds.
Yeah. Bro, are you knitting?
Before we went to Augusta to get to Sussex 1, I'd met Buzz, Moneymaker, Big Youngin, and my name's Jason. And in prison, there's a million J's in Jason, so we'd be playing cards all the time. I don't think that was grammatically correct. We were playing cards, and you would hear Jay. And so Buzz, and then we get like, hey, we need a new name for you. You can't be Jason in here. And I was like, okay. And he was like, what's your favorite book? I was like, The Outsiders. He's like, pick a character. At first I said Pony Boy, but he's like, there's already a Pony Boy in the system. I was like, Soda Pop. He's the middle kid. He's good looking. He can fight. I fit the criteria. And he's like, bet, you're Soda Pop now. So when I went to Augusta, Buzz had been down 12 years. I'd only been down a couple years at this point, 4 years, maybe 5 years in total. And so when we went to Augusta, we went together, like one day apart. And he knew everybody there. He knew Zach, Tweedy, Capone, and all the guys there. And my boy Josh from the jail. I loved it. Love Josh. Can't say his name, but love Josh. So when we got there, he introduced me as Soda Pop. But, just kind of was like, all right, so that's Soda Pop. And my name, I became famous in Augusta, not in prison total, but kind of in Virginia system. Soda Pop became famous because Josh is my best friend, and we live in the same cell together. We'd already done some things. We kind of had a cool reputation, but he wanted to go to the dining hall, and I'd rather meal. My mom made sure I stayed with money because I didn't eat hardly any commissary. I mean, anything from the kitchen. I left it unless it was breakfast. I'd always eat commissary. But he wants it. It's spaghetti. So we're going to the dining hall. I'm like, man, spaghetti day. Shit. I didn't want to go because on Sundays it's flooded because you only get 2 meals. You get brunch and dinner, and on the weekends the dining halls are flooded, and I didn't want to go. But he's like, he wanted. I was like, all right, I'll give you my tray, sit with you, and then we'll come back because we were never separate. And Josh and I were never separate. So we go there, and it's just flooded. And so Billy Red, these are just 4 white guys that we knew. Billy Red, Scully, I think it was Billy Johnson and Brent Smith, saw that we were milling around looking for a place to sit. And they go, yo, Pop, Josh. And when they said Pop, Josh gets soda pop, this dude, his name's Kevin Bridgley, stopped and turned and looked. And I said, oh, man. I just, you ever get a premonition you know something's going to happen? Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I knew it because I almost went in slow motion. So they stand up so we can sit down. And as I go to sit down my tray, I'm watching Kevin Bridgley come. I didn't know his name was Kevin Bridgley at the time, just some big black dude. I was like, whatever. But I knew what was coming as I tried to set down my tray. Said, nah, this me, bitch. And sits down in my seat in front of 300 people in the dining hall who are noticing, and my friends who are noticing. And this is my first big challenge in prison. This is what the weightlifting, this is what the push-ups are for. This is for either I have to make a decision at this very moment. Either I'm going to be, and I don't mean to use bad words, a punk and a bitch in prison, or I'm going to stand up and be a man, because the little bit of shit I've done already isn't enough. This is the show. This is when it's going to happen. And I just remember kind of blacking out, but not fully blacking out, and just taking a deep breath, and I hit him. And he went to reach up for me, which scared me, so I hit him again. And I hit him again. But as I'm hitting him, I'm like, who's the bitch now? Who's the bitch now? And it was called the spaghetti and blood fight because I fractured his cheekbone, 7 stitches, 3 stitches. And I just turned and cuffed up. I just turned and cuffed up when the police came because I destroyed him in 4 punches. They said it sounded like a baseball bat hitting me. And I'm not saying that's because I'm some killer. It's because I was so terrified that if I didn't do that, that I was going to be a punk for the rest of my time, and I wasn't going to be a punk. And so I went to the hole, and the charge gets basically thrown out. They're like this good old boy prison. Augusta was a white run prison.
Right.
Every other prison was a black run prison. But this is a white administration, and he's a mouthy big black guy that talked a lot of shit. And I was unknown, and I destroyed him. So I spent like 10 days in the hole because you got to wait for your hearing, then you got to get released. And when I came out, everywhere I went, I was soda pop. And from that, I took on that persona of soda pop. I was no longer Jason. I was no longer kind and caring and considerate. I wasn't mean. I wasn't a gangster. I wasn't tough. But I felt like I had that edge now. Like people, oh no, he will punch you in the face. You better leave him alone. And it got me in scrapes. From that point on, prison changed. I developed this, I was like, I became cold, like I called my mom I called my mom all the time, but I only call on occasion if something real bad happened. I was like, man, this dude's teeth were all over. It's a real bad, I haven't seen that much blood before, Mom. And I could only talk to her about this stuff because in there I had to enjoy it. And then it became normal. I don't know. It's funny because I thought about it the other day, and I don't tend to ever talk about being tough because I don't think I was tough. I think I was scared the whole time I was in prison. But I had to go down them all. I had 1, 2, 3 aggravated assaults, a really bad 100 series charge that was not a murder, assault on staff, assault on a nurse. Like I had all these violent charges to the point that I got sent back up to Sussex 1 in the state police game. Like this is over my 15-year sentence. And I don't want to sit there and harp on prison, even though I guess the show is kind of about that. The two scariest points, or the 3 scariest points in my prison bed were Sussex 1 the first day, and then when I crossed some lines. But when I had 18 months left and the Virginia State Police showed up, and they were like, Mr. Brewer, we have had 3 criminal referrals about you. If you put your hands on one more person, not only are we going to charge you for that crime, we're going to violate you for your probation in Virginia Beach, which is 18 years, and we're going to bury you under the prison. And I remember as we discussed the the victim mentality, I was like, are you kidding me? I just saw a dude get dragged into a bathroom by 10 dudes for an hour. I was just sitting in a cell where they say, give him the TV back after you beat, robbed, and raped him, or he's going to tell. Like, you're what? All I'm doing is defending myself in here. you don't like a strong white guy in here. I made it racial. And they're like, we're just telling you, we get another criminal complaint against you. We're going to, and then I had to be scared. I was scared that I would hurt someone. And no bullshit, it wasn't 2 weeks later, I beat the hell out of my cellie because he just wouldn't shut up. You know, I got all this pressure on me now, and this dude just would not shut up. He's always talking, always ranting, always raving, and he just wouldn't be quiet. And I was like, I'm telling you, I'd already grabbed him and choked him. I choked him out, and I was like, you gotta stop, bro. You gotta stop. I'm not gonna be able to stop myself because I know that I'm all worked up. And he's after I choked him out, he stood up, started talking again, started talking loud, and we're on lockdown, and I ended up beating him savagely. And I wouldn't let him out of the cell. There's 2 times I wouldn't let people out of the cell. I made him stay in the cell. I made him cover his face at count time. And it was just all bad. These are the things that I think about and shudder. And the second scariest part was going home. I was terrified to come home. I called my mom. I was running up all these debts and drug deals and shit. And I was real strung out. I had to go to the hole and kick dope before I came home. And my mom's like, you're a effing coward. You're a effing coward. You're scared to come home. And I was like, it didn't make sense. I was like, coward. You've been here with me for 15 years. You know the charges I've had. You know the things I've done. How you call me a coward? And she's like, because you're scared to come home. And I went back to my bunk, and I thought about it for a long time. And she was right. I understood where I fit in prison. You know, I was not a killer because I knew the killers, but I wasn't a punk, and I knew my place. And prison wasn't that. I got into the place where prison wasn't that bad. Yeah, I got along well. You know, I had a personality. I didn't run with any gangs. I wasn't considered a racist. A lot of people liked me. You know, you've seen Roadhouse. I show up to new prisons. They're like, you're soda pop? I thought you'd be bigger because the stories made me much bigger than what I was. And I didn't want to come home. Yeah. And that really, really scared me to come home. And I didn't do well when I came home. I did awful when I first came home.
Why? What happened?
I came home. They put me in a halfway house. Within a month, I was shooting up dope, and my brothers tried to rescue me and set me out the front row to dry out. They switched my probation. It didn't stick. I didn't want to be sober. I ended up getting another malicious wounding and an abduction because this person and I got into this huge fight. But they me up real bad. I mean, I got up real bad. They had a top secret clearance. We were just drunk as shit, and I ended up beating the charge. But then I went to what I was familiar with, Richmond, because that's where they said nobody wanted me when I came home. My mom didn't want me. My brothers didn't want me. My grandmother died the day before I came, or 2 days before I came home. Like, you're not invited to the funeral. We don't know what you are. All we know is what we've heard, and we don't want you at grandma's funeral. And that one mentally messed me up, but I didn't.
But you can understand that.
I didn't feel like I was worthy to say goodbye to her anyhow. Right. But it still messes with you a little bit. Like, damn, no, you know, wow, I am everything that I thought I was. Even my mom doesn't. Who loves me? Who will do anything for my mom's strong?
Yeah, she came to see you the whole time.
No, she didn't visit. She sent money. My brother visited. Okay. But she did visit too. But she held me down the whole time. Yeah. My mom loves me to death. She would do anything. And our relationship is great today. So I ended up going to Richmond, and I took a shot of dope. I left a note to this Jason Brewer. It was on purpose. Here's my ID. Here's my social security card. And I took the shot, and cleaning ladies came in and found me. And it was another one. This time I was in a coat, like a bad coat, like touch and go, lost, brought back. And when I came to, I had the thing down my throat, and it dawned on me I was hooked to the bed. And it took a few days for them to be able to take the thing out. And then she's like, why are you crying? I was like, I don't want to be alive. I did not fit in this world. I didn't think I ever could fit in this world. But it turned out, you know, years later, it's not true. You know, but at that time, it was probably the darkest days of my life because I'd get a job, lose a job. If somebody walked by me, I thought they could smell it. I thought they were staring at me. I always thought people were plotting on me. Like, to this day, I don't like a loud noise, and I can't stand anybody behind me. Like, thinking that somebody's behind me right now will freak me out. I didn't know how to deal with it because I didn't know what was. I couldn't distinguish reality from the false. I didn't know if people were out to get me, and I didn't know if I could function. I didn't know how to react to certain things. I didn't know if you bumped me and didn't say, excuse me, am I supposed to punch you in your face right now? Right. I was in the gym the other day stretching, and some guy walked and he had more room, and I have to debate in my head, do I go pull up on this guy right now? What would a normal person do? All that kind of weird shit. And this is, you know, I've been sober for 3 years, over 3. I just celebrated 3 years October 7th, you know. So, I don't know. I got off track. Yeah, I do that. My bad.
No. You know, you didn't get off track. No, I was just thinking about me, even me getting out after being in, even though, I spent the last, 9 years? Was it 9 years? Yeah, last 9 years in a low, like people are like, oh, it was a low. People are still getting, there's still fights. I saw one of the most brutal fights I'd ever seen in the low.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I was going to say, and even the way you talk to each other in the low, and we're talking about soft guys talking to each other.
Right.
I'm sure you know this. You stop saying thank you. You stop saying please.
Yeah.
You're soft. If you say please, it's like, let me get some coffee.
Yeah.
So you think, oh, well, when I get back, you over the course of that time, when you go back into society, you think, oh, I'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
But you have no idea how aggressive. Now, I just thought it was being assertive, but it doesn't come off as assertive. It comes off as being aggressive to a normal person. And when you've got your friends telling you, bro, you're super aggressive. And I'm like, I'm not. What do you mean aggressive? They're like that. Yeah. And I'm like what? What are you talking about?
And then you see how your eyes still do.
Yeah,
like, what do you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm not an aggressive person. I'm not someone that's going to be physical.
Right.
But they're like, it looks like you're going to attack me. I know you're not going to.
Right.
Because I know you, or I think I know you. But they're like, you come off aggressive, and and bro, you don't say thank you. You don't say please. You don't say, you're like, the best I've gotten out of you is, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Like,
Good
that's
luck.
it.
Good luck.
Yeah. like that's not normal, bro. You're not. Right. And I'm like, and they would say, like, you're not in prison. I'd be like, and I would think, I wasn't even in a real prison. Like, it was a low. It wasn't a tough prison.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, but you said people were getting. And I'm like, yeah, but they had that coming.
Yeah, right. People understand that.
Yeah.
Who has that coming?
Right. People, but just like that. If you get in prison, you probably had it coming.
Yeah.
People aren't just randomly anybody. So something happened.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So to me, it's like, yeah, but that dude this, that, like, you're justifying that a guy borrowed a book from somebody and lost the book.
Yeah.
And then told the other guy, yeah, well, I don't have your book. What do you want me to do? And then the other guy beat the dude down with a lock. Yeah. You're saying he had that coming. Yeah. But that's insane. Out here, that's insane.
Oh, but it's that they don't get it. That kid, Sussex one, the one person, he was getting out on Monday, gave his TV to his homeboy after he sold it for 2 packs of cigarettes. And when the guy was like, yo, on Sunday on the yard, like, yo, where's the TV? He's like, oh, man, my bad. I gave it to my homie. Hit him in the artery in his leg, and he died. His parents came to pick him up on Monday. Like, oh, yeah. I don't think, it's funny. I don't think a whole lot about prison anymore. I don't prison. I don't want it to define me, but it did take me a long time to understand what institutional life was. I thought it meant that I was a real hard ass when I came home. I didn't understand there's certain idiosyncrasies that I've developed from that environment that still carry on to this day.
Well, you definitely have PTSD. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I think probably anybody does to a degree.
Right.
And I think it's funny because there are some times where I think about prison and I think that was an eternity ago. And then there are sometimes I think about it and I feel like I just got out.
Right.
Like, you didn't just get out, bro. It's been 5 years. And it's like, but there are some times where I feel like that was yesterday. And other times where I think that was an entirely different life. Yeah. It was forever ago.
Yeah.
I wish I could discern why sometimes it's right. It's very a brief time ago and why sometimes it was an eternity ago. I don't know what that is, what the situation is, but it's but it is such an interesting, I think, like it changes your personality in some way, I mean, maybe some guys it doesn't. I don't know. To me, I felt like it altered me to such a degree that I just, don't want to go back.
Going back's out of the question at this point in time. I don't even know if I could turn it over to be that person again at this age and the way I feel now. And
I'm an old man, bro. I can't be doing it. I can't be going all through.
Although, for your audience, you thought I was in my 30s. I'm 50.
Your teeth are perfect.
Because I had terrible teeth when I came home, and so I spent a lot of money getting my teeth. Because that's one of the things I had a partial. Because they pull them. Yeah, it's like I had a routine cavity, but then I called a charge. They sent me to another prison. Then they sent me to another prison. Then did 7 months, 6 months, 7 months in the hole, and then they sent me to another prison. And then by the time they get to look at it again, it's been 2 years, so they yank it.
Yeah, it's
You know, so my teeth weren't all that great.
Yeah, they're not doing root canals and we're gonna put a crown on that. And,
None of that.
yeah. So I was gonna say I'm actually just in the process of kind of doing that now. Starting to go to the dentist, get this done, get that done. Like I'm piecing.
How long have
this.
you been home now?
5 years.
Oh shit!
But it was
okay. Yeah, you're still fresh. Damn, babe.
I just got off probation a few months ago.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
haven't been in trouble in almost 10 years, so I'm a little. It does get better. I promise you.
Yeah, I mean it's.
How much better can it get for you right now? You big diesel. Get out of here. Look at you, you sexy beast with the perfect hair. You got the podcast. You're famous. You got men stopping you on the street. Get out of here.
Listen, I want to tell the bean shooter thing. So do you know who Bean Shooter is?
No.
You should listen when you on your channel when you start interviewing people. You should interview this guy, bro.
Bean Shooter.
Oh my God, he's hilarious. I'll hook you up with him. He's hilarious. Okay. But he did the podcast. Did I mention this on a podcast?
I just mentioned it the last time.
I want to mention it again. It's worth it. Bean Shooter, he's on the podcast and he's talking to me. And I guess at some point he's got the turkey neck, right? He's sitting there. To some point he leans back and you can see like a waddle. And so somebody in the comment section says, "Holy Batman! What is it? Holy waddle bat." Or holy chicken neck Batman. That's what it was. Holy chicken neck Batman. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I mean, I didn't see the comment.
Okay.
Turkey neck?
Turkey neck. Yeah. Holy turkey neck Batman. And to him, and they leave that. And he said to me, bro, I never look at the comments. He goes, unless it's on my channel. He goes, and if it's mean, I'd get rid of it. I'd delete it.
Why?
I don't know. He's, just some people like that. For me to delete it, it would have to be something derogatory, probably towards somebody else.
Right.
Like if somebody else says something derogatory about me, I'll be like, "Oh yeah, that guy's a piece of shit." To me, oh, I can't stand that. You're absolutely right. I don't know what I was thinking when I said that. Anyway, but he said I looked at it and I thought it was some woman, and I thought he goes, and then I went back and I looked at the video and I was like, "Holy shit!" I had no idea that it was that bad. This dude jumps on a plane, flies to Colombia, and gets surgery done. And you should see the surgery. Like they cut him here, like it's like a big Z.
Oh shit!
And they do.
Sorry, I'm trying to find the video.
Oh yeah, bro. But to be honest, I think and I think he's shown one video since then where he's in an elevator. At first, he shows the surgery. When you look at the surgery, it's like, oh my God, this is like major surgery. But he posted a video recently where he's in an elevator with these two chicks that he goes to. I don't know if he's keeping them in. You can kind of keep some
just holding them in the basement.
No, in Colombia. So like he's dating them.
Okay, yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
So he's in an elevator and he's like, oh, you could see him with the video showing himself. He's like, oh, look at the new jawline. You're not. Wait, you guys aren't, or you're not prepared for this. Oh yeah. And he's like, and then he turns it. The girls are laughing and shit. Listen, he had both of them. I think they got Bean Shooter tattooed on their on their asses.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
we gotta have him back. We really have to have him
we
back.
didn't know enough.
We didn't know.
When we interviewed
This guy is like a Boston legend.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
he's like
So
a
he has
legend.
that real thick Boston accent.
yeah.
Oh, he's like famous, but it's like strictly in
Boston. They all people.
Yeah.
You don't understand his group. He's got groupies and he kind of reminds me of you.
Yeah.
You. I'm sorry. You kind of remind me of him. Also, he's insane. I mean, insane in a way that you're not insane.
Thank God.
This guy got his teeth done. Only in the teeth, he's got diamonds, clovers.
Yeah,
he's got crosses,
clovers. What's he repping?
Well, he's
in your world.
Obviously, he's. I'm not Italian. What am I saying? Irish, right? Irish, because he's Boston.
Yeah, but in your world, in the feds, he couldn't do that without saying who he is. That would mean he's in that car.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not. I really don't know. What does that mean?
The clovers is white supremacy for sure.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Irish pride.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
but it doesn't matter.
I mean, he was in prison.
Oh, was he?
How many times
Oh my gosh, this guy.
he did?
In and out?
Thanks.
Oh, I mean,
Oh, shit, he's
3
next
years
level.
here, 7 years here, 2 years here, 5 years here, 4 years.
Yeah.
I mean, this is throughout his whole life.
Yeah.
And then one day, he has a
Life when he
daughter.
stole me.
Yeah, well, he had a daughter, and when he got out, he just went, "Yeah, I can't. I just being a piece of shit's not working for me."
Right.
You know, you get to that point where, and it, you know, just like you, it may have gotten to a point you get so old that you, or I think a lot of it has to do with age. You get to a point where you're like, "The fuck am I doing?"
Yeah.
Like, you know, kind of like the
you
coward.
know what that point was? When I went back for that 1 year because I got my probation violation at 41 years old, and Deputy Hall, who was a rookie when I went in at 17, is like, "Yeah, Jay, I'm because we were always cool. He looked like Michael Jordan. He's from North Carolina. He's like, "Yeah, I retired this year," and it dawned on me. I had done a career as he did a career, and he was retiring and getting a job as a sheriff down some small town in North Carolina. And I
Working on a second retirement.
Yeah, and I hadn't even started my life yet. And that was it. That was the last time I went to jail that year. That was it for me. And that's when I started combating the sobriety thing, and it took me quite a few years to get on top of that. And that's the cool thing about the sobriety thing. I'm not going to, because I'm not a great example of it. Is that's where I started recognizing what fear is. Fear is not worrying about you punching me. Fear is worrying about maintaining a job, being in a relationship, not being hard and giving back. So like, I feel like I've taken so much from society. Now I always say thank you now. I always open doors for people. I always try to smile. And one of the funny things is people don't even know what to do with it. It's so disturbed out there right now. People are like, what are you doing?
Oh, society is so depraved.
Yeah,
it's so depraved.
They don't get it. They're like, why you know, it's weird, but I'm not going to stop. That's given me a lot of freedom. Challenging myself, my belief systems, trying to have an open mind and rid myself of these fears that have kept me in this prison, this self-made fear, the prison of fear is now opening up. And I feel like for the first time, I'm becoming who I'm supposed to be, not what I thought I was for all these years, all the ugliness and dirtiness and things that kept me from even trying to be a human being. I get to be a human being today.
Well, what are you doing now for work?
It's so funny as we're pulling into this neighborhood. So I'm a project manager, but we do disaster relief. So I started off I've been in the same company 8 years. I'm Right and Tight LLC, but I solely work for one contractor. And I've been with I'm not going to say his name because I don't, you know what I mean? But I've been with, and he knows him, for 8 years. So when I see all these roofs and shit, I'm like, oh my God, that's all, because all we do is insurance claims.
Yeah.
So if your house burns down, you want to see my biggest payout ever? $67,000 for the Skivington job. Dude, when I started doing this and I made $2,000, I like, this was 7 years ago.
Legit $2,000 legit money.
$2,000 for one roof. It was a cedar shake roof. I was like, I am rich.
Yeah.
I had never made $2,000 ever, like, besides robbing somebody. But then I signed up a bunch of work and I became really good at it. But yeah. And so I've been doing that for a long time, and I went from doing hailstorm work, windstorm work, to trees through the house, to the straight disaster restoration. So now mainly everything I do is fires. You know, it's very weird. I'm not, money's not my master or anything like that, but
I'm sure it's still a motivation.
When I've never made more than $11 or $12 an hour, and I made $75,000 my first year, $156,000 my second, $175,000 my third, and then stupid shit with COVID, and then last year $211,000. Like, I do really well, but I didn't know how to manage money. I spend it like it's water. I should have a lot more. As we were talking earlier, I didn't know how to invest in any of it. Mm-hmm. I was just so happy to have it. I wanted to just give. I wanted to show off. I had an ego. Let me burn this. Playing cards for thousands of dollars. It was crazy, but I'm now learning to manage it. I feel like my whole family in the world had a big jump because I came home at 42, a hot mess. It took me to 47 to even begin to think I could do anything correctly. And now at 50, all my stuff has changed because I know what ego is now. I know what fear is, and I can adjust to it.
It's funny. You really do need to talk to Bean Shooter. Yeah. Like, he has such a similar story. Like, it's amazing how you can. It's amazing how quickly you can pull yourself up by your bootstraps the moment you just start doing the right thing.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
Isn't that funny? Because you can. There are these guys that will try and get clean and up and conjure up and get clean up and it's like they keep doing the wrong thing their whole life, and they're like, I can't survive, I got no money, I got no this, and then one day they say, I'm just not going to be a piece of shit anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like suddenly everything starts to fall into place, and you're like, why didn't this happen before? Well, you were a piece of shit for fucking 30 years, and so nothing worked out. It tends to not work out, and all that is maybe it might be a year or two of struggle. You know, like it doesn't come together immediately.
Nothing comes easy that's worth having.
Right, but after a couple of years of just being a decent person, suddenly it's like God says, I'm just going to start throwing everything down that you need to survive. To flourish. Yeah. Just like that. I mean, not just because it's 2 years of struggle, or a couple of years of struggle, but if you just do that, then everything starts to fall into place, in my mind.
We did that podcast you guys looked at, the one that was outside with the wind and stuff. We did that over a year ago, just digging around the back of the house. Mm-hmm. And from that, he kept it. I accredit being here today because I've never wearing my wild shoes. I think I'd be sitting in front of Matthew Cox. You're, and I know I'm not saying this to blow you up because I didn't, not to be mean to Ian Bick. I didn't know who he was. I was like, oh, it's really nice to meet you.
That has to be, by the way, has to be a clip. Right. That needs to be a clip, and we're sending it to Ian.
Yeah, and I mean, I was nervous. I'd never done a podcast before, but he was like, hey, by the way, you can talk to Matthew Cox. I was like, get the out of here. I just left Ian Bick, and I quit thinking about Ian Bick. I was like, Matthew Cox, and I'm like calling my friends. I'm like, oh, bro. And I'm calling my mom, telling my wife, telling anybody else. Just kidding. So I was really pumped up to see, because who a president be talking to you? Who thought I could make a trip to Tampa to go do an interview, a podcast? And so now I believe that there's more to doing this. There's more to give, and there's more to receive, and there's more to produce. I mean, this I haven't been excited to do anything in so long because I'm good at my job,
right?
And I make money off my job, and it gives me self-worth. But I think there's more. I don't think I was just created just to go. And if I am just a project manager, great. But I'd like to be able to reach someone else and help them. That, when you're a taker, I was a taker my whole life, and now for the first time, I know what it's like to give. And I would like to be able to take someone else out of that mental prison. And I don't know if it's just by doing podcast talking or what we're going to do, but this is like a dream. It's not real. It's not reality. Even though it is, I'm touching you. You're right here. And I know you don't seem to like the compliment. I'm not blowing you up for any reason other than it's true to me.
I don't. It's not that I don't. It's that although you and I have definitely different stories, so much of your story, and you're not feeling worthy, so much of that resonates with me. That it bothers me when people say that. Or that you're inspiring, or you know how that feels. Mm-hmm. Like people say, "Oh, you're so inspiring, and I love what you're doing." And to me, I look back on my life, and I see all the failures and mistakes and ups, and just the shitty things I've done in life. To now be in a position where somebody says, "You're an inspiration." I absolutely do not feel worthy of that. So I'm always like, yeah, all right. Ha, ha, ha. I try and blow it off and get him to shut up as quick as possible. Right. Because I know it's going to upset me. Because I know and obviously, I don't want to sit here and cry. Right. I mean, I'm not embarrassed about it because if somebody's like, oh, you're crying, go yourself. I could give a shit. But, but yeah, I don't want to sit here. I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. I don't want to feel uncomfortable. My voice, I don't think it's particularly manly. But I have no napkins or anything. Tissue. Colby's no help at all. Your guy's sitting there. He's no help.
Colby's doing a hangnail.
I was thinking about it.
All Colby's and Colby has no problem, by the way. If as soon as he's willing to sacrifice he's willing to sacrifice,
thank you.
My reputation or virtue or whatever you want to call it for clicks, for views. That's all he cares about. He's like, oh God, Matt's going to cry. This is going to be great.
Yeah. 1 million views if you cried. Like, 1 million people saw it.
Yeah. So it bothers me. You know what I'm saying? It bothers me when people say that because to me, I feel like I'm just trying to make a living. I'm trying to make a living. But I do know that people get a lot out of it. And that's why that's one of the reasons I definitely think you should do a YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? You should interview other guys because they're going to be guys like you that have story. That's the thing I like about the guy, the bean shooter, because he's a lot like you. He jokes and laughs the whole way through. but he touches on some things that are just, heartbreaking.
Right.
And he laughs and joke. I laugh and joke my whole story through. I laugh and joke about it because, that's how I got through prison. So either got me, I'm joking and I'm laughing and like I'm trying to kind of keep laughing and keep a good sense of humor because otherwise otherwise I'd want to commit.
Yeah. And I think laughter is one of the greatest healers there is.
Yeah.
And helping. So, man, what a powerful interview. I really appreciate. I can't thank you enough. You were great. Thank you for coming. He was all pumped up.
Hey, you guys, I really do appreciate you watching the video. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notified of videos like this. Please leave a comment in the comment section and share the videos. That helps. Please consider joining our Patreon. It's $10 a month. We put Patreon exclusive material on Patreon. Also, please go to the description box and click on the links for Jason's all of his social media accounts, and especially he's starting a YouTube channel. He's going to start interviewing people. He's going to start telling his own story in detail. We want to get him enough subscribers and enough watch time so that he gets monetized and his YouTube channel can be successful. And please do me a favor, go there. Please subscribe. Watch the videos. I appreciate it so much. Thank you guys so much for watching this. See ya.